the shortbread.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Monday the 29th of August 2011. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess. Looking the other way.
Yeah, I was looking at some bars going up and down. It's always more interesting.
Audio bars are more interesting than the conversation.
Well, more interesting than the intro, at least.
Because it's the same every time.
Yeah, exactly.
And Robert Kemp.
Have you come up with an alternative intro yet?
I did one, but...
One.
Well, sort of two.
One time.
I had a second one, we just didn't actually use it.
Let's use it now.
Because then Dan jumped in and took over that time.
I suppose you introduced the Turdcasts.
Well, Well, no, you did one of those as well.
Yeah.
Or at least one, or two. I can't remember how many of those there's been, so...
Good ears, by the way.
Yep.
You're the one complaining about talking about our own podcast and our podcast, and then that's when you immediately start talking about the very
No,
start.
you said that I was going to do the intro, so I had to reply to that. That wasn't my fault.
That wasn't on
That was like Rob and his butts or whatever.
It's never my fault. People just assume I talk about ass all the time and then steer the conversation in that direction, looking at me.
Directly.
Well, at least you're not a boob Nazi.
Yeah, I'm not a boob Nazi in any way. Boobs for everyone. It's like boob communism, maybe. Equal boobs for all.
Abortions for some, miniature American flags for others.
Indeed.
Anyway, how's it going? You should do your intro. Go on, do your second intro. Then you prepared.
I didn't prepare it that much, and I don't want to waste it. Now that we've
Well,
already
in
done
case
the intro.
next time.
Yeah.
Okay, look forward to that next
But
time.
we asked
listeners.
you whether you wanted to do it.
Yeah, and then I said not this time.
When is the right time
When I feel
for
like
a
doing
Zeg
it.
intro? Do the planets have to be in alignment in some mysterious fashion, or do we have to feng shui this room slightly?
Yeah, this is not a good position.
Does it include
Put the couch too far back.
We can swap. Would that help? I'll sit on the right-hand side.
Does your intro include some of the same elements as mine, like the date, the name
Yes.
of the cast,
It does
the
include the
names of the
important
people?
things.
Because that's quite important. That's all I say.
That's
It's
what
important information. Just impart
I
it.
mean, that's what I did
immediately.
in my other intro.
It's not
Yeah.
like in Finnish for some reason, is it? Or
No, I can only theoretically speak German. And even that, I haven't done for forever, so I can't.
No.
Guten Tag, Bratwurst Schnitzel.
Acton.
It's like, good day, sausage.
Yep.
It's like that cop from Hello Hello, isn't it? That's always hilarious. Good morning. Supposedly simulating a French guy with a bad accent. Good morning.
Can you even say salad in German?
No.
No.
Of course I didn't learn how to say salad in German. What are you talking about?
Das Salad.
You're not going to be eating that when you're in Germany. Too much tasty meats available.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what they call
Cold meats.
I know what they call a courgette in German. Green Schnitzel.
I don't think they do. Also, it would be green.
That's true. What's the German for green?
It's like grün.
Grün Schnitzel.
Schnitzel.
Or Schnitzelgrün.
I don't know if they would do it backwards.
Schnitzel of Grün.
I think in German you do it the normal way round. Descriptive words first, instead of those other weird languages where like the actual adjectives come at the end of the fucking line.
Schnitzelgrünhausen.
Anyway,
Hausen works.
Hausen always works. That is totally not a German word.
Hausen.
Or maybe it is.
Are there
But
German
it doesn't
words
mean
that
what
end
you
in
think it
Hausen?
does.
Like,
Thanks for that dramatic
well, I'm pretty
sign.
sure it
Let's move
doesn't-
on.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't mean house, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does mean house, because house means
House means house. Spelled slightly differently. but-
H-A-U-S.
Yeah.
House.
I don't think that U even has umlauts. It's just a regular U.
Oh, would that be house?
No, it would be
House.
house. Something like that. I don't know. German is-
House.
Too long ago.
So,
German is so ancient history.
no one speaks that anymore.
No.
It's a dead language.
That Gamescom thing, it just, didn't happen in Germany at all. It was,
Speaking of which, that was an excellent segue.
yeah.
Speaking of which,
See how I did that?
Gamescom.
did you see the Star Wars thingy demo that they did at Gamescom?
Oh my word.
Star Wars.
Oh, with the Rancor. Is it?
No,
Is that right?
not that one.
Oh, right. Which one did you mean?
They did a live gameplay segment
No.
on stage where
Was
they
it
had like
hilariously
8
bad?
people. Yeah, it was hilariously bad.
Well, this was the thing. I watched it. Zach showed it to me yesterday. I watched it, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what, this doesn't look too bad. It looks like a more polished WoW.
It's like
and
kind of
presumably
generic.
that's what MMO players are after.
Oh,
you
you're
know?
talking about the Old Republic? I thought you were
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
about Star Wars. The
Oh, no,
Kinect.
no.
Oh, you mean okay, so what's the problem with the Old
Well,
Republic?
the problem
It's
was...
generic.
Well, yeah, the problem is that it is WoW with more polish. It doesn't seem to be anything other than that, from what I can
It's got
see.
like skill bars and like.
It's
Well,
like
of course it does.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know, but it's got like a very like wow looking kind of like here's like 2 sets of skill bars stacked on top of each other and so many.
It did have a few things
ain't
going.
broke.
It did have a few things going to it. Like the setup seemed a bit, how you got into the mission was like a scripted sequence and was kind of cool. There was like voiceovers happening to go with the mission rather than just random bits of text. And stuff.
Yeah.
So it did
It's
have
all voiced, isn't it?
It did have a bit more polish. But the problem I have with it is that Zach then immediately showed me the Guild Wars 2 video straight after, and it just blows it away.
I find that surprising.
The level of stuff that's going on in that event, as they call it, in the Guild Wars universe is just ridiculous. The presentation is top notch, really, and there's a lot of stuff for everyone in the fight to be doing, rather than just wail on him now.
But of course,
I need heals. It's like there's tactics, there's stuff to do other than the main thing I'm supposed to be fighting in order to make the fight work.
But of course, in the Guild Wars video, it's like it's not so quite obvious what the mechanics are.
No, true.
You don't literally see like. Because especially in the Guild Wars 2 like graphics, now everything is like super fancy glowing flames and shit.
The tour guys with their demos are trying to show what it will actually be like to play the game for people who play WoW and are like, well, what are my skills going to be and shit. They're not trying to just, because if they were just kind of trying to impress, they just show one of their pre-rendered crazy intros, which are like cooler than the last 3 Star Wars films.
The 2 things that I found really, really particularly dumb about that demo of Star Wars was the bit where he's like, okay, we're going to, then he's like, they've got a character who's basically invulnerable, he can't be targeted, he's being the camera, so he's like running around looking at
for the purposes of the demo.
for the demo.
Okay.
But he like runs up and it's like, look at this bounty hunter, and there's 2 bounty hunter guys, and they're shooting at this turret, and they're just standing there like, pew, pew, pew. And the turret's just shooting you in the face in the classic MMO style.
MMO style, yeah.
But then it's like, oh, he's going to
DPS, right?
Yeah.
It's like, is my rate faster than the turret?
He's like, he's going to do his death from above move, which is like Boba Fett with his jetpack and like the missile and everything. And the guy just sort of goes, whoop, whoop. And it's like, wow, amazing.
Dramatic, yeah.
And then
I'm hoping that sound is enough to convey what Zach meant there.
Yeah.
There was some hand actions to go with that.
Yeah, the whoop.
Flies into the air slightly, fires a few shots, lands on the ground again. Not entirely sure we get the point.
No. And then when the giant enemy robot comes up at the end of that demo, giant enemy crab robot.
Giant enemy crab.
Yeah.
It doesn't have an animation for turning, so the model just rotates. It's like,
that's
what
WoW
are you doing?
style as well, isn't it?
Unless it has like thrusters on its feet or whatever, because some robots have been known to do that.
They could have just hid that, couldn't they, with a bit of.
Well, there was a lot of shit happening near its feet anyway, so you can't see. Maybe they have, but it did look a bit dumb, where it just like rotates on its axis.
Yeah.
I think if I played WoW, I'd understand more why those games are like the way they are.
Well, yeah, I guess.
From an outsider, it's like it's hard to understand why it looks the way it does, but I'm sure it makes perfect sense when you're actually.
Well, no, this is the thing. Remember, we're not saying. I don't think either of us are saying it looks bad. It just looks
more of
nothing.
the same.
Yeah, there's no sort of like, oh my gosh, that's great factor. Which personally I got from watching Guild Wars. Video.
Right.
I felt like, oh, actually, this is kind of new.
They're just hoping to steal the Star Wars fans from World of Warcraft. It's like, you already basically know how to play this game, but if you also like Star Wars, it has the Star Wars universe on top of a WoW mechanic.
In that sense, it's a safe bet, which is what you need when you're making a massive MMO, because there's so many big failures. And this one won't be a failure, I'm pretty sure.
And of course they'll be weaving in BioWare's classic conversation elements.
Yeah, that's the key stuff. That's the stuff that's like actually improved. Like the fact that it is all fully voiced and that each member of the party gets like a vote in what is said in the conversation trees. That kind of stuff is kind of cool.
But yeah, I couldn't help but be impressed by the event system from Guild Wars, where apparently things just happen in the overworld in which everyone populates. So, all of a sudden, giant dragon appears. Holy shit, random fight. 100 people turn up to have a quick brawl against this massive dragon.
So it's like Red Dead events, random events, but they happen in a massive MMO world.
That was the impression I got.
That's so cool.
I don't think I suspect they won't be, incredibly random. I'm sure there'll be some kind of trigger somewhere.
Or maybe there'll be like some sort of news post somewhere to say, shit's gonna go down.
Well, if they use any of the sort of systems that they tried implementing in the older Guild Wars, because it had like in the second Guild Wars expansion thing, or first expansion after the first game, they had that weird, like, where you basically chose a side and it had a territory mechanic. And you could claim those outposts for your side, and it pushed the line across the map.
They tried to do a persistent war concept.
Yeah. So I imagine it will probably happen, that if they're going to, that seems like a sort of mechanic that could happen for those events, like, if, like, the death side has pushed forward a certain distance, then the dragon can come out or something.
Perhaps. Could work.
What game are you talking about? Guild Wars 1?
The second part of Guild Wars.
Oh, right. Because I can't remember what the name was, but there was one MMO, quite an obscure one, that did that constant war thing really well. Do you remember the one I'm talking about?
You're not thinking of PlanetSide?
No.
So
it was like not Heroes of Might and Magic, but I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But...
Might of Magical Heroes?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's no point if I don't remember. But I seem to remember that somebody did it well. Constant war. Because that never seems to work. Like in PlanetSide, it was a cool idea, but then you ended up with like this kind of weird equilibrium, and you're only fighting over the same bases. you know.
On a similar note, there's been more talk about Dust 5.1.4, whatever the hell it is. And people are coming away from it actually saying, yeah, you know what? This is actually shaping up to look like it could work.
Yeah.
Which is the scary thing.
In what context? Are they saying it could work by itself, or are they inferring that it will work in the Eve connection mystery?
Well, yeah. What is still unclear about it is just how these fights will materialise because the impression everyone's giving is that these fights are created by players in the Eve universe and contracting the fight.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And that you can call in help from your like friends and stuff with their ships to actually sort of just fly above the planet and bombard shit when you need it. Stuff like that. So there is a tie-up between... The games are actually happening and will be reported upon in the PC Eve world. Things like that. So there is still a tie-up. What I'm still not sure about is all of this sounds fantastic. Apart from, I wonder how easy it is to even gank it horribly. Like, just have one corporation turn up and just go, bomb! There you go, everyone on the ground wins. Success. Or
I don't
how
think they have that much
actually...
interaction, though, after the contract is decided on in the
They
PC.
have said you can call in, like, ships and stuff from people you know.
Well, if there is going to be any kind of orbital bombardment or whatever, if they're going to have ships in the atmosphere, it's clearly going to be small ships, because... That would just be
the dreadnoughts can't fit.
That would just be a convenient way to like excuse the fact that you can't just bring a battleship down and annihilate everything.
I mean, even the smallest little frigate thing, you wouldn't be able to bring that into the fight.
Well, it wouldn't be a direct bring in, if you know what I mean. There'd be sort of like an indirect action because the two are very different. The Eve universe isn't going to have knowledge of the battlefields and because of the platform separation.
It possibly could though, in a sort of a disconnected way. It's like you'd be able to see some kind of representation of the battlefield, and then you'd have like on Eve you'd just like play a mission sort of.
It might have to be like a map. You know, it could quite easily fit into the category of like the players in Eve, for instance, could act like squad commanders or commanders from Battlefield, for instance.
I don't think they're going to be this tightly integrated. It sounds cool, but it doesn't.
The main problem with it is the idea that the world that you're fighting over is created from Eve. The trouble with that is that obviously what they're fighting on is like the planetary installation stuff that's already in place. Because that was sort of the idea of why that was part of the idea of why you have the planetary stuff, and also why there's no at the moment in Eve there's no way to like there is no element to the planetary PvP element to the planetary interaction. It's just like you can build right next to each other, on top of each other, and it doesn't have any effect, and you can't dislodge other people.
Well, maybe that was part of the plan because they allowed all this stuff to happen.
Built-in conflict now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because everyone's like, oh shit, I can't do anything about this, and all of a sudden they go, now you can.
But the actually,
there's a whole load of like pre-built fights just waiting to happen.
But the other problem with that is no one cares about planetary interaction, and there's so many goddamn planets. It's like if someone builds on your shit, you just move to another planet.
Well, that's why they're going to have to
this is where the risk comes from. Yeah, they'll do something to encourage it. Otherwise...
Make the planetary interactions much more valuable than the usual asteroid strip mining. All of a sudden,
but they can't do that because then everyone would do it, and then you just get overpopulated in the other direction. Then there'd be too many battlegrounds, and you'd never get people fighting on your specific one unless you paid a shit ton of money or whatever.
That, surely
you could balance it. Surely,
yeah.
I don't think they're good enough at balance.
Yeah, but you could balance it like not balance it by a human. You could balance it automatically in a kind of marketplace style. Do you know what I mean? Economically.
Yeah, but you can't. There's no economic balancing. It's just like all the prices are set by players. You can't force it anyway because they got rid of all the NPC buy orders or whatever. You never sell anything.
No, maybe that might be the thing. Maybe the contracting price tags will be controllable by...
Well, those will be, but I'm not sure.
Because then they could... But then... Because if it becomes super cheap, then that will encourage people just to take them out in a kind of, what the hell fashion.
But then that balance is like, if they make it cheap enough that you can take it out easily, then you have to wait for the players. It depends how many players there are on the fight, on like the ground fight. It depends on the player base, basically.
Well, no. Actually, that could be more dependent on how long the fights are. Because I could see this working as in being, in a because it's a sort of persistent idea that the fights actually could be insanely epic, and they could make the actual level lengths and the maps pretty enormous if they wanted to, and that could be like the entertaining factor, like invasion modes, but make it a really really big invasion mode. So there's lots of objectives that they have to achieve in order for the fight to succeed, and they could be pushed back. So it could end up being quite.
But then you're never going to resolve this one planet, one installation fight in the Eve universe. If it takes ages, then...
Well, no, but that might just happen, because Eve just generally takes ages. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I just think there's a lot more planetary installations than there will be people to fight over them on the console game.
I don't know.
That's just my suspicion.
I don't know. If it's as good... If it gets the player base based on how much actual positive hype seems to have come out recently.
Well, I guess that is helping.
There's not really been a bad thing said about it so far.
But we still don't know anything about it.
Other than the fact that it's on PlayStation.
Well, that is
the biggest bone of contention, is that it's a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Damn you, Sony.
It's a bit odd that it'd probably be on PC eventually, you'd think.
They said it wasn't going to be, but...
I'm not sure. I think Sony might have a hand in that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, presumably they can't control the prices of anything because it's all set by players, but presumably the developers can control the amount of resources available in certain areas, and also the rate of their extraction by, like, buffing or nerfing the mining tools or...
Well, yeah, I guess they sort of did that already, but it's a matter of profit, really. It's like, it's not necessarily how much... Because obviously if they make it so that you extract less minerals, then you just sell them for more, and then it's a balance between how much people are willing to pay until...
Well, let's think of this as
but they could have less minerals extracted from asteroids and more from planets.
Yeah, but they're different minerals.
Well,
are they?
They're totally different construction chains,
different?
so...
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Well, we can think of this in a completely different way. In that the contracted fights are obviously where it's at, but if Dust stands up on its own well enough, there's no reason why they just can't have...
Well, they can have generic fights.
Non-actual world-affecting fights. It's just like, enter the arena and stuff. But that's highly reliant on Dust actually being successful.
I just get the feeling that it's more likely to be the other way around. That there'll be too many battlegrounds and not enough soldiers, rather than there being too many soldiers and not enough battlegrounds.
That might be a side effect of the PlayStation thing.
The actual first-person gameplay might not be good enough.
Well, they are saying it's shaping up well.
Yeah, but
I'm sure it'll be a shooting game.
You've got a lot of competition, haven't you, in the FPS space?
Well, yeah, but it's a bit different. Sci-fi shooters aren't in
Outside 2 is like the only competition there.
In multiplayer terms, are actually hard to go. It'll be what you got. Halo, really.
Gears is sort of sci-fi.
It's not nearly as big.
It uses regular bullets in Gears. It's not lasers.
But that's the thing. Any shooter with lasers instead of bullets is inherently shitter. And what's a good sci-fi shooter with lasers? Ever. Silence.
They just haven't made them. How do you name bad ones?
But they're always lame. Like,
that's true.
Look at the Star Wars FPS games. Like, okay, you have a lightsaber, but in Jedi Outcast or whatever, and Jedi Knight, but blasters are just inherently not as cool as actual guns that shoot bullets. That's why whenever they do sci-fi, they just make like advanced bullets, like in Battlefield 2142, instead of having lasers. Or Halo has bullets, not lasers. Well, I suppose you've got the...
Well, if you think the lasers in
the Covenant
in the Eve world, or the railguns, don't really have trajectory anyway. They just they're like lasers. They just go there.
Yeah.
They're not like weird
But that doesn't
takes
mean
time to fly through the air laser.
That doesn't mean that they couldn't do it. And I mean, the literal lasers in Eve are instant hit, like actual lasers. Even though it wouldn't make sense in space because the distance is so much huger, it actually would take time for the laser beam to travel.
But it would just be like the guns in Dust could quite literally just be like guns, making sort of like, but they just change the sound and it acts like, they just say, oh, it's actually a laser gun, but it's, it's firing instant hit bullets. Like how in Unreal 2, for instance, they had the assault rifle in that. Or a number of games do it, don't they? Where it's actually just like a gun, but instead of like an orange muzzle flash, it's a blue muzzle flash. So it's the future gun.
It's a late future gun.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, I think the model for good laser-based shooting would be Elite Slayer from Halo, because that's quite satisfying.
Yeah,
that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, the rifles in the plasma rifles in Halo have always been good. Yeah, the bullets travel, but they travel faster now to make it.
And they have impact, whereas like blasters from Star Wars, they just don't feel like they have any oomph to them. No. Or like, do you remember Voyager Elite Force?
Good,
but that's because that was inherent in the fact that it was a Star Wars game, because blasters and lightsabers both have the same problem in games. In the Star Wars universe, they're basically both one-hit kill. And in a game, they inherently can't be one-hit kills, so that's why they never feel like... Blasters never feel like they have any power, and lightsabers just feel really weird, because you should be murdering everything instantly.
That's the same with real-life shooters, isn't it? In real life, everything kills in one, pretty much.
Yeah, but you can make them...
It's like, you shoot them in the leg, they actually probably can't move.
But that's true in Counter-Strike, I mean...
You can still shoot someone in the leg, and they don't die.
That's true.
It's true.
Or, get hideously crippled.
Apart from in old Deus Ex.
That was ridiculous.
If your legs get shot at that, you're fucked.
Is that a link?
Yeah, sort of, but we're not really ready for that yet.
Section. We're not ready. Stop. This review is not ready yet.
How are we doing anyway? Not bad.
Was there any other... What was that other video that I also showed out of Gamescom? I can't remember. There was the Guild Wars, there was the Star Wars one, and there was
I heard some news, by the way.
Oh yeah, the Battlefield video.
Battlefield multiplayer. Which looks...
It just looks like more Battlefield shooting.
I mean, it's still damn impressive looking.
And jets.
They made a big deal of the jets.
They look cool.
They
look like they were going slow enough, which is nice, because real jets go way too fast to be in a Battlefield-sized map.
Yeah.
We can't help but think that the actual sort of land... that the planes are going to have quite a lot more range than the land fight. They're going to have to be able to go out of bounds quite significantly for them to have any impact. And it's still unsure... I'm still not sure how the impact on the floor, because they're travelling so fast, how much impact on the floor they'll have. They'll be limited to some kind of bombing run.
Well, none of those jets were fighter bombers, they were all fighters.
Yeah. It's like, how is that going to work in terms of the actual to and fro of the...
I just think it will be anti-helicopter.
Maybe.
No, it'll be a plane fight until there's no enemy planes left, and then you'll go after the helicopters.
I had one awesome game of Battlefield 2 that I remember, where this other guy was my TV bomber guy. The TV guided missiles.
That might have been me. I was always TV bombing.
No, it was just some random
us in the
bloke.
choppers.
Oh yeah.
And it was great because we I'd never met him, obviously, and we were just communicating using the text chat. But he would wait for me at the runway for me to get in and be the pilot, and he'd be my wingman. Because the problem was there's all this ridiculous hanging around on the runway, bombing the person who gets in before you. But
that map was so huge that the actual runway that they spawned on was miles away from the actual fight.
Yeah,
it was like over some water and stuff, so there was never any spawn camping, and most people didn't even bother there because they were like, "Oh, I can't be asked to wait around over there. I just want to go fight."
But it was so cool because he was really good with the TV, and I managed to keep flying, and because I was quite good at the flying low over the runway to collect more ammo, and not getting shot down. And that was awesome. But that was like one game in I don't know how many games of Battlefield 2 I played where it was awesome.
Well, it's because you needed a second guy for those fighter bombers.
You did, yeah. But yeah, it all depends because it becomes when there's somebody else who's good on the other team in a fighter, it becomes exactly like a sniper duel in TF2, whereby it's completely removed from the rest of the fight. You don't have any real influence on the actual battle because it's just a one-on-one fight, basically. Just like a sniper duel. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're not helping either team. You're just having a mano fight against each other in the sky.
Yeah. I mean, I can't... I still think that might be how it ends up.
But in the Battlefield universe, at least when you kill them, they lose a ticket. Whereas in Team Fortress 2, they just respawn.
Maybe you lose more tickets for losing a plane or something. In which case, people will just not fly them.
Possibly.
Unless they're fucking griefers who just want to be able to fly the planes and are actually dragging their team down.
But at least you have missile lock on now, so you can actually shoot. You don't have to rely on the cannons to try and to do air combat.
That's true.
And
it's more fun with the cannons, though.
Well, presumably you won't get very many missiles. That'll just be like...
Yeah, but then you're so close to your base, you could just fly over it every...
I'm sure they won't let you mid-air reload again.
That was awesome,
really dumb.
That was so cool. What are you supposed to do when you're out of ammo?
Land.
In the sky. Land! Great, yeah.
That was fine with it. I don't know, I think that's the only option you have, really.
I don't think they'll actually...
Because they could be crazy overpowered, otherwise.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do.
Or maybe it'll just be a time-limited recharge.
Perhaps.
Maybe the missiles will just recharge over 30 seconds.
That wouldn't be very Battlefield, though.
Well, no, but what's a better option? Flying over an airfield to collect ammo? or...
At least it forces you to get out of the fight. You know, that would be really irritating if the choppers had reloading ammo.
Yeah,
they didn't have to go back to base. Yeah. But at least with the chopper, you can actually land it.
I should actually pay attention. Next time, I should rewatch that video and actually pay attention to the UI elements to see if we can detect
what's happening.
Whether they actually have.
But I'm glad jets are in Battlefield. I think they're cool. I mean, only on the big maps, but I love flying jets. So
I think they're cool, but I'm not entirely sure how they work in the gameplay because I never liked them, to be honest, in Battlefield 2 or in the stupid 1942 mod thing.
They're good if they're
I
think the best kind of aircraft is not fighters. It's like an A-10 Warthog that has a powerful cannon.
I think those are in as well.
And then as long as your team spot enemy tanks, you can come in and blow them up, and then you're actually helping.
And then you're just a chopper again, basically.
Yeah, but it's cooler than a chopper.
Could they bring in those flying tank things like they have in Call of Duty as like a perk or something? But they could shoot them down out of the sky this time would be kind of cool.
They did sort of try that one time in old Battlefield, didn't they? Because they had on their landway, they had that actual bomber where you needed 5 people in it.
Oh yeah.
And it virtually never got off the runway without exploding.
That was hilarious, completely useless and really funny. And people used to get in it anyway, didn't they? I don't know. But
it might work if they get the 64 player thing correct. This time.
The trouble is you can't really have one of those on a runway.
I became genuinely useful with the P-51 Mustang in 1942, the original Battlefield, because I could do the dive bombing and I could actually take out enemy tanks, and I actually became useful at one point. I mean, they weren't much use on the Pacific levels, because then you did just end up in dogfights that didn't help the rest of the team, really. It was I'll get on the aircraft carrier's fighter and I'll fly off. You just end up using them as kind of quick transport, parachute out over the point that you need to capture.
Yeah, basically. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's what you don't want.
But as long as the jets do have some kind of power against ground, they need something. I'm not sure whether maybe they'll just make it so that the missiles can also target ground. Maybe they'll just be heat seekers. I just love the idea of being on the ground as a soldier and saying, bomb that, and then someone else arrives and bombs it. I've always thought that would be awesome. Like in Hostile Wars, I thought would have something like that, but it ended up not having the jet until the very end.
But surely that's what a perk is in Call of Duty.
Well, yeah, but that's not a real person.
And you say, bomb this shit,
It's not a person.
But what difference does that make?
It's cooler, because you're it's a team. It's cooler if it's a real person. I just think it is.
It was like the stupid artillery spotting in Battlefield as well.
It is, but how many people will actually... I mean, how often has the squad ordering system actually worked in Battlefield?
That's the thing.
Never.
But now they want to incentivise it or whatever, don't they?
If they can make it work, it would be sweet. If it doesn't work, then they failed. I'm
sure the jets will just be fun to fly around and shoot each other anyway, so...
Yeah, I bet there'll be...
Just be some points.
There'll be modded maps where you just, they're giant and you only fly planes, like that hilarious one in Desert Combat.
Yeah, but that was dumb because you still had capture points.
Yeah, I had to fly around in circles. That was amazing. Anyway, yeah. Battlefield. Let's hope they get it right.
Still be good. And I'm still unsure it will be rage-inducing like every other Battlefield is.
Yep.
With the possible exception of 2142, because that was by far the best.
Well, since that was the last one, maybe they're iterating it down.
Maybe they'll bring the balance.
Bad Company is what it's based on, basically.
I suppose.
That's supposed to be good.
Yeah. It's supposed to be.
I'll ask.
Just has elements I don't like. But that's the annoying thing.
So, other news I heard: Super Monday Night Combat.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not very enthused about it.
No.
Mainly because it's a free-to-play thing, so inherently it's going to be dumb.
So it's free to play, and it doesn't have the map.
And also it's going to steal the very few people who are still playing Monday Night Combat away from Monday Night Combat.
And the maps aren't like sports arena style anymore, necessarily. They're kind of all styles, like Unreal or something.
Yeah, I'm a bit annoyed about Monday Night Combat, because obviously I think the PC had the issue with, as soon as TF went free to play, everyone from MNC moved to TF.
It was like before that, even.
Yeah,
it was pretty much empty.
It's depopulated for some reason.
So maybe that's why they feel the need to.
I think it's partially because of the fact they didn't get into because they have so much competition against TF2 in terms of the update cycle. They didn't really. I think a lot of players of MNC are probably players of TF due to the similarities.
Yeah. And
TF updates more, so there's always more to pull you back into TF.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go on TF and equip my Deus Ex. Clearly awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, but they didn't. They had a few short run of like occasional updates, didn't they?
Well, they did a lot of balancing at the start, which was good because it needed it.
We got 2 extra levels.
Well,
no, wait. Well, one of them was actually from the
one of them was
wasn't it, from the DLC on the Xbox. And then we got 1 extra level,
and it was terrible,
which is a bad level, but has some hilarious music. But Chicky.
So the one level that they tried to make was inherently. I did like. It's just like it's because they tried to make a different style. I just like the generic sports stadium style.
Yeah,
and then that weird
cool.
sort of shitty wooden style that they went for, I didn't like anyway.
It was just an awkward level to play, and was the problem.
Well, yeah, it was not a nice layout.
No, but if they, it's not like the level designed for MNC needed to be complex. This is the other confusing thing. What happened to the mod scene or something like that? Couldn't they have enabled, like TF did, just enable user maps?
Yeah.
All the problems would have gone away.
Yeah,
because people could have just made maps. And then the game would be infinite, and people would buy it.
Well, I don't know about that.
And you can use it's Unreal based, so you could just use the Unreal tools.
Yeah,
it's not like they have a problem there of having to make tools.
They misplayed it somehow. I'm not quite sure why, which is a shame because it's a great game.
Yeah, they deserve a bit more Moneyball.
Yeah,
but the question is, if they make in this new free one that they're trying to make, are they going to?
Well, how much do we know about it?
Not much.
Not much.
But are they going to try and... I mean, mechanically, it shouldn't need any changing, but they'll probably do something. I think I heard that they're going to reduce the number of players per team, which seems dumb. It's like, it's already 6-on-6, you don't need less. I think it's going down to 5-on-5.
Maybe because of the lack of population.
But this is a new game, and it's free. So there shouldn't be a lack of population.
Well, where are they going to make the money from this? How is the monetary...
Stupid cosmetic shit.
Oh, right, they're going for the TF model.
Yeah, hats.
Oh, God.
Fair enough. But it needs the levels and update cycle to support it.
Just because it works for TF2 doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone. I think... I don't... Presumably the Eve thing isn't working. I'm just guessing.
What Eve thing?
Hats in Eve.
It's working so little that I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah.
I actually haven't paid attention to any of the news or anything recently to see if that whole ridiculous shit... I did look at the dev blogs to see if they had posted any more information or apologies or anything, but they, as usual, it's just like, we're not going to talk about that any longer, we'll let it die down a bit. So I'm still waiting. Every time I log into Eve, I'm still looking at the blank wall because they haven't got hangar mode back or whatever,
right.
Still waiting on that.
It just seems to me that just because it's been a huge success, which it has for TF2, doesn't mean that other people should copy it necessarily, because they probably will screw it up somehow. I mean...
Well, I said this from the start when they introduced it. It's like, in TF, it really shouldn't work.
Because it stylistically fucks it all up.
Well, not just for that reason. I don't think people care so much about that. Dan cares.
Well, it would have been fine if they'd actually made all the items... even vaguely in the same style. You could have stupid-looking hats, but make them stupid-looking hats in the sort of 50s style texture.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the bigger problem was the pricing model. In all honesty, because it's crazy.
But they did fix that to some extent. The hats went down from 12 quid to...
7 quid. 7 quid cosmetic hat.
If they can get away with it, then fair enough. That's capitalism.
Yeah, I know, but I think twice about spending 7 quid on a bit of DLC for the Xbox.
I know.
The whole game.
That's okay. You don't have to buy the hat, and it doesn't affect your game if you don't buy the hat. So
I know, but it's crazy.
I know. Some people.
How is it working?
Some people are rich and they don't know what to do with their money. Like there must be people who are like,
buy a better PC.
Yeah, but I bet
Buy me a better PC.
There are geeks out there who have a high-paying programming job, and they come home and all they do is play TF2. And what are they going to spend their money on? Hats,
Prostitutes.
Yeah, probably
Boots for all.
They spent all their money on. They've spent as much as they can on water-cooled PCs and hired prostitutes. And what are they going to do with what's left over?
I'm trying to think a name for my movement here. Would it be boobism? The age of frontage?
I don't know. You just give to some breast cancer charities, and
but no one.
Everyone gets more boobs.
I'm from the knockerist party.
I don't think people buy hats in TF2 because they want to.
They're forced. No point. I don't
think they buy a lot of hats.
Is this why episode 3 isn't coming out? Because Gabe Newell was literally just going door to door going, buy a fucking hat!
No, it's because he's making Dota 2
Apparently
and Counter-Strike fucking
played
go.
So much Dota 2. Like, he's played, like, what was it?
Yeah,
hours and hours. A million hours of Dota 2
What?
I
Not
know.
literally a million. That was an exaggeration.
Lots of hours. He's played.
That seems quite impossible.
He's played a lot of hours of Dota 2 for some reason.
16,000 or something.
Something ridiculous.
It was near an actual number that might be true.
Considering he's the head of a big company.
Yeah, but he's the head of a big company. He doesn't do programming.
I know he doesn't, but still, he must be busy, you'd think.
Nah. He's got minions.
But they're making Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Go and not Half-Life 3.
Yeah, but you don't know that. Nobody freaking knows that. I know Valve isn't a huge number of employees, but they could have easily had a team working on it this whole time.
But why would they not announce
really
it at
small
all, or even say that they were working?
It is announced. There's concept art.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. It's been a million years since they last.
I know.
That could have been concept art left over from episode 2.
Yeah,
for all we know.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably will be because they just continue with that. They probably won't bother making a new engine, the lazy bastards.
Oh well.
No, they'll port it into the Alpha Dead 2. Left 4 Dead.
They should make Alpha Dead.
Alpha Dead. Yeah, if I was going to acronym it there, I should just gone the whole hog there, rather than Alpha Dead.
But clearly, they need to make a new engine. God damn it.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be episode 3, if it's actually going to be Half-Life 3, well, they should. But they need to make episode 3 as well, so they need to finish that storyline. God damn it.
Well, just say a few weeks back when I went back and had that quick session on the beta level, whatever the fuck it's called, for Left 4 Dead. And it was like, actually, you know what? This isn't that bad looking a game. It's not particularly technically.
Portal 2 looks fine.
Yeah, it's not the height of technical prowess, but it still looks good.
I don't think the looks is what I'm worried about with Source Engine any longer. I just don't like the feel of it so much now. I think they could do better. They could make a better movement system and improve their physics engine some more.
Now they could.
Think of an example that is better though on PC. I'm struggling to think of one. Potentially Crysis, but Crysis 2, I mean.
What? And you mean looks, or do you mean feel? No, I think Half-Life 2 feels better than Crysis, I think.
I think what they need to do is maybe the main problem that I have with the movement.
Quake.
Well, maybe the main problem I have with the
Half-Life,
movement.
The original Half-Life is basically Quake movement. Yeah.
I think the problem I have with movement in Source Engine is it doesn't feel. There's no weight to it.
Like the Master Chief feels like he has a bit more momentum to him, or a Spartan soldier if you're playing Reach.
Like most games is generally slower though, and slower imparts the feeling of momentum.
Yeah, but Half-Life 2 is a lot slower than Half-Life.
It's like how Killzone.
And you don't feel like you're just like it's like a floating camera. There's no physical feel to the movement.
Yeah.
I
kind of know what you mean. It's better in Half-Life 2 than and derivative games than it was because in Half-Life you just sprint around like a kind of maniac.
Yeah.
Which was great. It was quite hard when you were doing the platforming sections because everyone complains about first-person platforming always being terrible, but people forget that there's quite a lot of it in Half-Life, and that's one of the best games ever.
Yeah.
And in Half-Life 2 even, when you're on that bridge and stuff and you have to...
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I wouldn't exactly call that platforming.
Kind of, though.
Or the getting across the sort of radioactive pools.
Yeah.
That's also not really platforming.
It's kind of.
It's platforming, but they don't... Especially in the Half-Life 2 ones, where it's just like you're actually building the platforms.
Well, it's less so in Half-Life 2, but in the first one...
You don't have specific jumps you necessarily have to make very often, because you just move the platforms around to how you like them.
It still kind of is platforming, though. But it works. I'm not complaining. It's that section in Half-Life 2 with the sand and the antlions is way cool.
Yeah. it works. But I just think they could.
It's okay. It was too long.
Fair enough.
That could be said for quite a lot of bits in Half-Life.
That's true.
They had a lot of bits where their idea for a zone, they kind of made it too big. Like that going under the bridge was like, that bridge is fucking gigantic.
Yeah, they don't. It's tighter now, isn't it? If you look at the episodes,
yeah,
no bits are that long in the episodes.
Although then that also makes it kind of weird in a different way.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, unless you consider all of episode 2 being a driving section, kind of,
it's not though.
Stops.
It's
yeah,
not.
You don't spend a long time driving. You go between stops pretty quickly, and it makes it feel kind of small, strangely.
And it's quite a long drive before you get to the car, because you've got that whole antline nest thing, and then you have to go and get the extract stuff.
Possibly the antline nest is the one bit of that is too long.
Yeah, although it kind of...
I found that more interesting.
It gets broken up by the
it was different.
It gets broken up by the fight, next to the lift with the antlines coming down the corridors.
Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah, and then you get a separate bit with the antline queen thing. It's like different from the earlier antline nest section, isn't it? Because you're in the kind of core of the nest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was varied enough. And then there's a whole bit with zombies before you even get the car. Because the car's on the other side of that bridge. And there's that bit where you need to get the car, and like if you look at their heat maps for people dying, it's like a massive big red blob on the side of that bridge where they're trying to figure out how to get the car across. I think I must have died there several times trying to jump it across. Or I don't know what it is, but there's some flaw in the level design there that you can see on their feedback data that everyone has died in this one spot.
I don't remember
quite
what
interesting.
That was.
It's something around that area with the zombies.
Didn't you just have to, like, when you got in, you had to, like, the bridge was, like, unstable or something, you had to weigh it down at one end to make it a ramp so you could jump the car over?
Something like that, yeah, but I think a lot of people messed up that puzzle or something. Maybe it was intentional. Anyway. Old games.
Can't remember any
from
of that
years
shit.
and years ago.
It's like, it's been so long since we played it.
I know. It's been so long.
It's like if there was the potential of of episode 3 coming out at some point soonish, I'd probably play those again.
I mean, how weird would it be if it came out tomorrow and it's like, numbered health packs? What is this?
That's how Half-Life works.
I know, but what other game is like that now? No other game.
Serious Sam 3.
Yeah,
Hard Reset.
That's an intentional throwback, though.
Deus Ex in some ways.
Yeah,
By the way, I saw the quick look of Hard Reset. That looks kind of cool.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that
there's a quick look for it?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'll have to have a look at it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Giant Bomb.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. Right.
As with Richard, what's his face, is dog football.
Richard what?
Yeah.
That's not even close to his name.
Rice.
Whatever.
Was it?
Yeah,
Rice.
Jerry
Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Richard, what's his face? And Nitus.
Right.
You can remember the dog name easily.
Yeah, Nitus is easy.
Nitus.
They want to just be called Nitus. Then I'd never forget
Nitus and Nitus dog football.
I'd never forget anyone's names if everyone was called Nitus. It'd be really easy. It'd be like, yo, Nitus.
What's happening, Nitus? Nitus, looking good. You said Nitus? Sure you have.
So, Nitus, what have you been playing?
Been playing a bit of Nitus Creed.
You have?
You've been playing some Nitus.
That's interesting.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed.
I'm waiting for you to say you don't like it.
Not the one you expect.
Oh, you've been playing
I've
one?
been playing the first one.
Oh, okay.
I've been playing as Cock-Eye-Ear.
Cock-Eye-Ear?
That doesn't work, does it?
Kind of does.
Cock-Eye-Ear?
He is a douche. Anyway.
He's not...
I don't like him.
No, he is hard to like. I'll give him that. But I think you're a little harsh.
It's a contrast with Ezio because he is quite lovable.
I mean, how far through did he get?
Not that far.
He does...
I didn't like it.
The story does start to twist, like, at the halfway point. You know, some of the arrogance starts to wash away. He is still kind of arrogant against the people that don't like him, let's put it that way. And that's probably fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he starts to question things and doesn't get answers for
You're playing this on the PC?
Yeah.
Okay.
He starts to question what the people he's killed tell him. And no one will give him answers to what seems like, they don't seem entirely bad, the people you're killing. And it's like, ooh, conspiracy, what's going on? You know what, it's not bad, actually. I don't mind it too much. The only problem I have with it, really, is that it relies quite a lot on doing the same thing over and over.
That's what they fixed.
Over again.
They fixed that.
It's
so
like, save citizens. Alright, okay, how many are there in this area? Fucking 16 in this section that I have to save. Mother. And there's 8 viewpoints to get to. Actually, in fair, the viewpoint scaling are some of the better bits because
I
some of
quite
them
like
are,
that.
some of them are a challenge to find where you have to go.
Yeah, that's fun.
In order to get up, and that's okay. I don't mind that.
I like that.
The other big problem I have with it is that for all its intentions to make you run away from fights, it's like, oh, you run away from your pursuers and you get into a hiding place and stuff like that. It's easier just to fucking kill everyone.
Yeah.
Just turn around, counter everyone's blows. You're all dead. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to avoid problems. Just kill everyone. It's like even if you're just traversing the city, because the first few chapters of the game, you're traversing rooftops to get about the city, often to avoid problems. And then second or third mission, they introduce archers on the rooftops who suspect everyone as being a bastard.
Of course.
And like, you shouldn't be here. Stab, stab, stab. It's like, what if that was my house? Like,
You were climbing onto the roof for some reason.
Exactly.
I've got to do some repairs. Oh shit!
Oh shit! I've got an arrow to the face. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And in the kingdom, which thankfully after a while isn't required at all, the game lets you skip over. After a while.
What's the kingdom?
That's how you traverse between cities.
Oh, okay.
Because there's 3 cities in there. You've got Jerusalem, Acre, and... Well, there's 4, technically, actually. But one of them isn't really a city. And what's that? Damascus.
Damascus, yeah.
And Al-Musma.
Yeah.
Which is the assassin hometown or
yeah,
something. Yeah. So you get those, but eventually the game sort of basically says, "Oh, do you want to teleport back to El Masyaf when you've finished your mission?" And it's like, "Okay,
yeah, quick."
That makes it a lot easier. But you can't
Fast
do
travel.
it on command. You can only do it when the game prompts you.
Right.
So at appropriate moment. So after a while, you stop going to the kingdom, which is just as well because when you're in the kingdom, they have these guard towers scattered all over the place with archers standing on top, and they're not just like you shouldn't be here. They will go, even if you're blending in, just casually walking past, they go, "Assassin!" from fucking miles away. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm just going to gallop past you bastards and then find the nearest hay bale. And it's, the mechanics are a bit odd, let's put it that way.
Not so refined. It's obviously the first game in a series, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to know even what they're trying to achieve in some of the decisions they make in places. And it's, that said, it's not a bad-looking game. For some reason,
even now.
For some reason, for it being quite bright, though, it always looks kind of not bright, which is weird. Like,
is that an HDR thing?
Perhaps, yeah. It's like the super sunlight, for instance, looks bright in terms of the contrast, but the actual colour presented on screen
It's a bit grungy.
isn't actually totally bright. You know what I mean? It's like which makes it a problem because I've been playing it in 3D. For the majority of it, because it works really damn well in 3D.
Oh, cool.
There's no effect that really goes wrong.
That's good to know.
Which is nice.
What about when the world starts sort of falling apart and, and goes all, you're in the Matrix? Does it do that in that one?
Not exactly, no.
Right.
There's only a few sort of effects regarding that, and that's usually when you talk to someone, there's sort of like the selection effect goes on their model and stuff. So the only sort of real Matrix-y stuff you get is when you get a flag or something, you've got that round the screen glow, and the areas you can't get to yet are basically just a blue wall with cloud. That all works fine. The Animus is a bit weird when you're sitting in the Animus and you've got the sort of menu of it in front of your face.
Oh yeah.
Simply because it is so far out of the screen, it takes you a while to figure out how to look at it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, most of the game is into the screen. There's a few things that come out because it's obviously not designed for it, so occasionally someone will walk in front of the screen. It's like, ah!
Oh shit!
But, the Animus is just there.
Right,
where it probably would be if you were lying in the Animus. You're just not prepared for it.
Yeah.
It comes across and it's like, right, okay, focus. Right, okay, the screen is at an arm's length. This is about a hand's length from me. I was like, right, fuck, okay, I'm going to be totally messed in the head after I've used this thing. But fortunately, that's only for selecting the continue button.
Okay.
And then you're okay. But, yeah, I don't know. It's alright. I'll play it through, because I'm told that the benefit of knowing the story is kind of helpful.
Cool.
So I'll play it through. I'm not sure how much I'll do, because I'm sort of doing semi-completionist at the moment, doing everything that the game has to offer, and there's been one time where I thought, fuck it, just do the mission. And then, of course, you have to go back and replay that entire memory sequence in order to do the stuff you missed.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff you missed, like the investigation stuff. Because there's 3 bits of investigation you always have to do before you can assassinate the target, but there's 6 investigation things in total, which give you the other 3 giving you extra hints.
Oh, I see.
And,
so you don't have to do all of them.
You don't have to do all of them, but if you want to go back and do them, you have to replay that memory mission specifically, because those bits of the investigation won't be available if you go back to the town later.
Yeah.
Which is a bit awkward, but I can see why they made that decision. But it's a bit awkward if I wanted to be completionist, because there's a hint on the Animus that there's secret stuff to unlock if I be completely completionist.
Yeah.
But again, to that end, there's those flag things. Like, fuck, you're going to get all of them.
Yeah.
There's shit tons of them,
it's
and
like
all
100.
in awkward positions. And
it's quite fun looking for them.
I mean, if you see one, it's like, well, I'm getting that shit. That flag is mine, bitch. But it's and you just go for it. But like when you're in the assassin's town, I spent some time actually trying to look to these things, because it's like, it's a relatively small area. I know there's 20 here.
All of them, yeah.
I got 18 of them. I still don't know where the fuck the other 2 are.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's fine. I didn't mind that. And then you get to a town, and it's like, there's 100.
Yeah.
In this enormous space, and you're like, fuck that.
Like way too much content.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So hopefully, if and this is the bit I don't know. I don't know if I complete the story missions enough, do I still get the extra content, or do I have to do all this extra shit to get that extra content? It's like, if I have to do the extra shit to get the extra shit. It's
extra shit.
So if the game was clear about what I needed to do to get that, then I wouldn't potentially be doing the extra stuff I'm doing in the levels, and maybe that's part of it, I suppose. But
I think you're starting to understand why it takes me so long to play an Assassin's Creed game. If
If
you are completionist,
there's a lot
takes
to
forever.
do. But the problem isn't, as I said before, the first game has a lot of the same thing to do.
That's the thing. They fixed that.
Yeah.
But
And
also,
it does sound like that because of all the extra stuff with Leonardo and shit. That does sound considerably more
There's
interesting.
all kinds of stuff to do.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the actual assassination bits are generally pretty interesting. By the way, it's beer o'clock.
Beer o'clock.
There we go. Oh shit, I didn't open that properly.
I would warn you, I obviously haven't played it, but I've heard that it goes kind of to shit at the end of the first Assassin's Creed, because it relies heavily on the combat, which isn't that great towards the end, and it's like, well, you've taken some original ideas, and then at the end you've just thrown it all out and just made it a sort of mash fest.
So I don't think the combat's that bad, it's just a bit, there's one way to win it, which is counter.
But that'll be...
Fuck the rest of the mechanics, just counter everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how you win.
But the whole last, couple of hours of gameplay are just, massive... That's what I've heard.
Okay.
So, be prepared for that.
I look forward to that.
Make your way through it, and then number 2, which is the one I like.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, I wonder if a bit of me perhaps might have a little bit of a... I don't know, I wonder if I'm spoiling the second slightly by playing the first. Because I understand the flaws in it, but because I'm playing it on PC, I get the advantage of crazy fast frame rates and
That's
3D.
True. Well, you could always see how much 2
doesn't
costs
affect the frame rate
on
me,
Steam.
So
How much would 2 cost on Steam? Probably not that much.
Probably not.
I mean, you don't have to play my copy. You could
I know,
actually buy it.
It's just the fact that it's right there.
It's right there. I know, but I mean, if you want that better experience, you can totally do that.
Because it probably is limited to 30 frames and all that. Frames.
It is. I said when I came out, and you were quite surprised, but I said it was the best looking game on the Xbox at the time.
Yeah, I'd want to see that just to see how I want to see how the Xbox runs it.
It's not bad, I would have to say. There's not much chugginess at all in Assassin's Creed. The engine is good.
Yeah.
It's an impressive engine, I think.
It seems alright.
Because it's quite... The textures are quite sharp, and the world is quite big, and you can see quite a long way. It's just...
do you still get those annoying people in 2 and 3 that chase you asking for money?
You get...
Those bitches are irritating.
You get buskers who come up and try and play music whenever you... you are the assassin, you are awesome. Play a little song in their loop. And they're kind of annoying, so you have to kind of run into them to make them drop their instrument if you want them to shut up. But you don't get people... You do get people running who steal your money and run away, who you have to chase. And there's also just Borgia messengers, which are just guys that have... money or whatever that just appear on your HUD, and you can chase them, but there isn't anyone that just runs around after you trying to get money off you. You can still throw money and stuff
because you don't get,
and everyone goes money and crowds around.
There's no concept of money in the first one.
Oh, there isn't, because
there's no money.
In 2 you get money and you can use it to buy things in shops, but you can pickpocket people by just walking up to them and nicking their money.
The pickpocket game is so retarded. In fairness, even in the first one, because they're like the easiest investigations to do, because it's like, follow them. They will stop at some point and have a quick look around to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Then you pickpocket them. That's the game.
That's it.
You just walk up and hold B.
Yeah, hobby.
Game over. Right, okay. They even turn around afterwards and you're just casually walking past. It's like... I didn't know that was me at all. They know they've just been robbed, but somehow they don't know that the only person around robbed them.
If you leave it long enough and you stay in the area in 2, they do work out that it's you. But you could just throw money on the ground. You can equip it as a weapon and just chuck it, and everyone goes money, money, and crowds around. So you can use it to like distract people.
That's kind of funny.
It's really funny. Yeah.
So yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, I'm more. As I say,
It's quite a few years old.
I am more intrigued by the overworld story. I think because of Altair.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, it's making the actual sort of Animus setup.
Well, it'll certainly help if you ever get to Revelations, the next one, because that's got Altair in it. Obviously.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. Whether Altair remains a cock at the end of the game.
There's one weird bit in 2, about halfway through, where for some reason it flashes back and you're in Acre. And you're Altair, I think. It lasts like 5 minutes. And I didn't understand the significance of it, but maybe you will.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't happen in Brotherhood. It's really strange.
It's all Ezio.
Yeah.
All Ezio, all the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sweet. Yeah, so that's Ass Creed.
Ass Creed. What else have you been playing?
More Final Fantasy 13.
Cool. How's that ticking
Plodding
along?
my way through that. Well, I got to the bit where I thought I'd reached the end of the overworld, only to discover that and get told by a little tiny shitty robot that, some things open with time, and you've now a Potion Pioneer, which you get a Chivo for, which means I've probably walked far enough to unlock all the ones that were actually unlocked by time. So it's like, oh crap, now there's a shit ton more stuff I can do in the overworld, of which most of it is impossible because I'm not leveled high enough. It's like plenty of insta-kill enemies to get stomped by. But the problem is figuring out what I can and can't do at this stage, or whether it's worth doing it. Same problem as I had before, it's just now that there's more of it. I was all ready for just going, right, fuck this section, I'm going to carry on with the story now. There's nothing else I can do. Only to be told, oh wait, there's stuff you can do! Don't leave!
Some of it.
Yeah. So now I've got to spend a few hours doing like just 3 missions in the end, I think it was, because it takes so long to get anywhere.
Yeah, that is pretty dumb.
So, yeah, there's stuff to do. I don't know how much of that I can bear before I can just go, fuck it, carry on with the story. But I think I'm right at the end of the story. There's not many of the story achievements left. So I don't think there's many sections left to do. I think it relies on this pulse section to pad out the time quite dramatically. Plus, if you watch the intro sequence, there's no more... I seem to have seen all of the videos that are part of the intro sequence.
Okay.
Well, that obviously means that they don't want to reveal what actually happens now. You must be at the bit where the twist happens.
That's true.
Well, I don't really know what the... Yeah, so there's been a couple of minor twists, but I still don't really know where the story's going, as in they don't seem to have a plan.
Yeah, what it's like their plan was to, like, go home, basically.
Yeah.
Then they got there.
And it's like, well, I think they got made to go there by something. It's like, well, while we're here, we might as well go to our old hometown. Maybe we can find something to get these brands off our arms in the process. Of course they fucking don't. There's nothing there of any significance to that. And then they meet who we think is the main bad guy at the moment, maybe, who seems to... Well, he basically wants to destroy the world, which we came from, as it being... It's the only solution to saving the planet, or something like that. It's destroy this part of it where everyone lives.
Yeah.
And I'm a little confused at this stage as to how it all finds out. I'm just a bit more confused about where it's going to go. How are they going to solve this fucking mess? It's like, well, let's not do it. And then everyone dies anyway.
The trouble that I have with it is whenever I've been watching it, I haven't really seen very much of any of the story, so I don't actually know the important part. So I know they came from that city place, and then they went on to the overworld, and then they had to go to their hometown.
Do I go into spoiler territory here and try and explain it?
Well, you can if you really want to explain it.
Spoiler alert!
I want to know why they have that lens thing that lets them talk to someone who appears to be in the moon. What the fuck is that about?
What?
They hold up the thing and then they're imagining they're talking to someone.
Right. Okay. That is Sarah, who at the start of the game is Snow's fiancée.
Yeah, I got that part.
She is a lassie at the start of the game, which is the branded sort of bad thing. You get branded by foul seas, which are like the gods of the world, essentially, like massive creatures that somehow maintain the world. And so you get branded by these, then you have to do their bidding. If you don't, you get turned into a thing called a thief, which is like a shambling, regretful monster, as they're called, of odd sort of stony design, a bit like Tree Man kind of sort of look, and
Tree Man.
Yeah, it's this dude with a ridiculous skin thing that makes his arm look like bark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they look a bit like that.
Like Ents from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
but less treey and more rocky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the first Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Those all rock.
Or if you succeed, you get turned into crystal. Neither option seems particularly good. So Sarah achieves, and these things you have to do are called focuses. And when you achieve your focus, you get turned into crystal. So Sarah manages to do that. We're not entirely sure what her focus was, but she becomes crystal. And that thing that they're carrying around, this lens, is a tear that she sheds as she's turning to crystal.
Right, yeah.
Which they sort of just keep for some reason.
But why do they always look at the moon for it?
Because they're not looking at the moon, that's Cocoon. Cocoon is the world in which they live, which is like a self-contained planet thing that hovers above the main world underneath.
No, I didn't think it was that high up.
So they all live in that, but they get chucked out of it. And Pulse, which is supposedly the enemy, is the underworld underneath where the previous civilization used to live before it got wiped out in some big fight.
I didn't think it was that high up. And I also didn't think it was that blue. It doesn't look blue from the inside.
So that's pretty much it. They get turned into l'Cie when they discover, like, basically the start of the game. Oh, there's so much story, man. I don't know how to go through this. Like, none of it makes sense unless you explain it all.
No.
It's like they discover this ancient foul sea sort of relic just outside of, like, on the outskirts of Cocoon. And everyone goes, "Oh fuck! This is potion shit. We don't want any of that. That's dangerous to us." So they start purging people that have been anywhere near it, which basically means ship them off to Pulse. Like, you can just chuck them back off the planet, basically. Yeah. Onto the main world. Onto the main world. Just chuck them off. Of which we don't really know what happened. They probably just got killed.
So the Cocoon isn't really in orbit. It's just vaguely hovering.
Yeah, it seems to be statically positioned above Pulse. Somehow.
Is there any indication of whether Pulse is like a planet as well, or is it just some weird flat plane?
We don't know. Yeah, it's weird. We don't quite understand.
Style.
If like you walk on the inside of the sphere or something, we're not quite sure. But it has a massive hole in it from the last fight or something, which is how you get in and out of it. But basically, inside Cocoon, there's the foul sea of Cocoon maintain Cocoon as a working eco-structure on its own. So there's one that provides food for the cities. There's one that provides a sun source inside Cocoon. Mm-hmm. So there's all these things that do them. And you sort of take it apart of yourself to, like, kill a few of them while you're there. A couple of them you leave alone, like the important ones, like the sun.
So do you think it's like a mini Dyson sphere type thing?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It could work.
With like a sort of...
an internal sun.
Internal nuclear-powered star in the middle.
In the middle, yeah. It's never really explained.
Okay.
But, yeah, so they kill a few. You end up going to the top thinking... something happens and you think, right, well, fuck this shit. We're just going to take out the government who are trying to kill us because we're l'Cie anyway. So they get right to the top, only to discover that the leader is a foul sea as well, not masquerading as a human.
Okay.
Who then says, but this is my master plan, to turn you into l'Cie, and then you're to do this kind of stuff, and eventually you'll become like some super badass thing that will destroy the planet for me. So this Bartandalus ass then starts, like, you kick his ass, but he's like, not fazed by it at all. It's like, well, you beat me in this one form. I'm just going to put you in a plane somewhere or something and sends you elsewhere. Then you end up on Pulse. And then you fight him again. And it's like, well, now what the fuck do we do? He leaves you a ship as well to say, well, you can come join me and we'll sort this out. And it's like, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to get in this ship, go to Cocoon and fight him again? Is that all that's going to happen? I don't rightly know. It's just
every time you beat him, he's like, yeah, fair enough, have a ship.
Yeah, it's just a bit weird. I mean, I don't quite know where it's going, but there's lots of sentimental moments and...
Well, evidently, since this is a Final Fantasy game, what is going to happen is somehow you're going to become in tune with the planet, and then the mechanical city Pulse part is going to be engulfed, and then the planet will overrun it and trees will grow. And that's what fucking happens in every goddamn Final Fantasy game. Yeah.
Why, it's always a nature versus industry morality story,
Ever since 7.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, what happened in the previous... We know that 2 characters of your party are from the old Polscian civilization, and that they completed their focus, got turned to crystal.
I like that.
And then I think it's Pulsion anyway.
But
yeah.
Pulse of Pulse.
Yeah.
Pulsion.
Yeah, I think that's what they called it. But
When you first said Pulsion, I thought it was like Pulsion as in like emulsion, like it
right.
spelled like that, like with a U.
Yeah, no, it's with an I. Pulsion.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are from Pulse. Did their focus, of which one of them was to destroy Pulse, so the civilization was wiped out by one of your party.
Wrath of God.
Which doesn't make any sense.
But they have to become this Ragnarok thing in order to do it, and it's like we're not quite sure how that works yet either.
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Borrowing elements from Norse mythology now.
Well, no, Ragnarok has been in all of the FFs in some form.
Yeah, okay.
It was the airship in FF8, for instance, was Ragnarok.
Because Ragnarok is the... is it the afterlife? Or in... Oh,
Well, Ragnarok is like a sword, isn't it?
Oh.
No, because it's not the afterlife. The afterlife is like
Is it like the
Nirvana or something, isn't it?
No, that's from Indian stuff, Nirvana, isn't it? That's
yeah.
Buddhist. But is it where the gods live or something in...
No, that's fuck, what's that called?
No, Ragnarok's the end of the world, that's right.
Which makes more
Ragnarok is
sense
the
in this
apocalypse.
context.
Ragnarok is the apocalypse, that's right. Something else is the
Shit, that's going to bug the shit
Asgard
out
or
of me
something.
then. It's something
Yeah,
really
Asgard
obvious,
is
isn't
the
it?
place, but
Yeah.
there's a different term for it, isn't there?
It's going to bug the crap out of me. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
You're going to go and look up Norse mythology on Wikipedia.
Was it the sort of bar thing in Max Payne 2 was the Ragnarok, wasn't it? Or in Max Payne 1, but they changed it into like a posh vodka bar or something in the second one. Do you remember?
Valhalla.
Valhalla. Valhalla. But Valhalla is what?
Valhalla is Norse heaven.
But Ragnarok is the end of the world.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Give me a minute.
Okay. Yes.
There will be no Valhalla for you.
Yeah.
There's something... Oh, Ragnarok's a game as well, isn't it, of some kind?
Oh, yeah.
Several, probably.
Ragnarok Online, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Ragnarok.
What the shit is that?
Ragnarok.
Final destiny of the gods.
Ultimately result in the death of
Some
all
major
the
figures
gods,
in Norse mythology.
natural disasters, submersion of the world in water. Yeah, I think this pretty
Armageddon,
much.
pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, FF13.
Yeah, so there's fuck tons of that still to do. Maybe not in story, but in the overworld, there's still shit to do. And, yeah, so yeah, I'll keep at it. God damn it, cool.
Yeah, I think maybe you should just finish it because every time you've played a Final Fantasy, you've always got to some stupid load of side quests that you can't do, and then you just get stuck, and then you end.
Yeah, the completionist in me wants to do it all. You know, the only time I haven't followed through with that was Lost Odyssey, where I came across the impossible fucking dungeons where there's like a couple of challenges that are just way leveled above me.
Well, it's not like
and
you
the only
didn't
way to
find
do
that
them is
in,
to grind to them.
It's not like you didn't get to that point in like Final Fantasy 8 as well, with like the stupid death train level dungeon where you had to go down like 1,000,000 floors in one sitting.
Yeah,
to even get to the fight.
Well, to be fair, I did try a lot of them, and the thing was, like in my big playthrough of FF8, it's that I was trying and still hadn't managed to get there. You know, I was still doing shit and finding new stuff to do, and then time ran out on me. Really,
did you think you were like at a point where you could have finished Final Fantasy 8? Because it's like in Final Fantasy 7, once the shield over the crater goes down, you know that you can just go into the crater and then you'll go to 7.
Well, no, I'm not even that far. In my longest playthrough, I never started disc 4.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Out of 4.
Oh, right.
So, you know, they've probably got a quarter of the story left to play. But from what I know, the world goes a bit fucked up past disc 4, where stuff changes all over the place. So I don't know how much of the stuff I would have been able to do is suddenly not there anymore.
But that was the trouble. It's like, because you knew that theoretically you might not be able to do it, that made it even more incentive that you just sit there and try it and then get stuck and then not do it, not move on.
Yeah, I know. I should really just fucking finish that. So I can say I've finised in that
finished 9?
FF game. No, I never finished 9.
How far did you get in 9? Did you go through the rainbow portal thing?
No.
Well, there you go.
So anyway, this one, probably finish it.
Yeah. Oh, I'd have to get the PlayStation 2 out as well to finish those.
Yeah.
Why? Because your PS3 is not backward compatible?
Nope.
Or emulate it.
Why isn't it? It's an old one, but it's
I'd
not
have
old
to get
enough.
my saves off the actual PlayStation cart.
That's true.
Is your PS3 not old enough to have the PS2 hardware in?
No, I got it It wasn't. I got mine not long before Slim was announced.
Yeah, because they deleted it, didn't they? At some point,
it went from the initial ones had hardware, then they quickly removed that for software support, and then quickly took the software support out.
Oh right, okay. So you don't even have the software support.
Nope, I got nothing.
That freaking sucks. I bet the next Xbox better damn well be completely backward compatible with the 360. I would be surprised if it isn't, but I hope it. And also. Whatever they do with PlayStation.
It is irritating, but I kind of don't feel much malice against them for not doing it. It's like the PlayStation, for some reason, feels like it should be more possible, because we knew how easy PlayStation 1 emulation is.
That's true.
Thanks to Bleem and EPSXE on the PC and stuff. PlayStation emulation is comparatively easy. That PS3 should be... It's not really a problem to do that in software.
No.
Fuck it, Bleem probably would have just sold their technology to Sony or something and say, here you go, do it. Pay us some bucks and we'll put it in your system or something. It doesn't seem like a far cry. Why they took it out, I don't know.
Oh well.
It's not like anyone's going to go out and buy a PlayStation these days. Like a PS1.
I don't know, they might do.
Unless you're really hardcore and want to eBay it.
Because they were still ridiculously making PS2 games for ages after the PS3 even came out.
But they still sell PS2s, don't they, in shops?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so. I
don't
don't
choose to buy a PS2.
Well, they're cheap, obviously. Depends how much money you got.
Oh, I didn't know if this happened recently or not, but I did see an advert on a bus stop saying that PS3 is now down to £200.
Yeah, they just cut the price. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't
PS3.
know that. So
yeah, they cut the price of the PS3, which is way cool. And talking about the PS2 still being available, they've just announced a PSP, a new PSP.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
yeah, which is cheap, and it's doesn't have Wi-Fi. And it doesn't have any internal storage.
That doesn't make much
sense. So
it's
less high spec than the original PSP that came out.
But they're selling it for £100.
They must still have. They must still have a big stock of UMD
That's
games.
the idea. Yeah,
they want to get rid of.
That's similar to them still selling the PS2 to people, and they sell the PS2 in other markets like Africa or something, and places that don't. Yeah, non-traditional markets. So it's interesting. I'm quite interested in getting, because I'm thinking, I don't know how much money I'm going to get when I get a flat and stuff, but I'll probably get a TV, and if I want a Blu-ray player, I might as well get a PS3, especially if they don't come down in price. And I kind of want.
You can get a Blu-ray player for about $100 now, but
yeah, but I want to play Uncharted 3, and I also kind of want to play.
Uncharted 3, motherfucker.
I kind of want to play that Eco and Shadow of the Colossus HD thing, because I haven't played those games, and they look pretty cool, even if.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Various. I don't know what else I'd get.
I don't know how I feel about those, to be honest, because they're must-play games that I'm not entirely sure I have the inkling to play.
Well, I was looking at the quick look again and it did look pretty cool, especially Shadow of the Colossus. The way they were saying that the original game was just terrible frame rate.
No, really?
Yeah, on the PS2. So now they fixed it. So yeah, so that's way cool. And that one did look pretty good, I have to say, graphically, surprisingly. It looked fine, because it's very art style.
How do you feel about the whole sort of remake sort of concept?
Because
there are certain things, if you were to go back as far as, say, PS1 era games, the dawn of 3D in all its glory.
Yeah, but they look terrible, those games.
Yeah, exactly, but perhaps making remakes of things from that era.
Well, if they remade Metal Gear Solid 1, I would be up for it. Cause
they did.
Did they?
Twin Snakes on the GameCube as a remake.
Oh, maybe I should just play that then. I don't know. Is it any good? Because I've never got into Metal Gear Solid, so I played Splinter Cell, which I understand is the inferior stealth brand, but I don't care. I enjoyed them, and maybe I'd like some Metal Gear Solid. But
so I think there's quite a market for remakes if you remake the right game.
If you remake Final Fantasy VII,
which I'll never fucking do.
Fucking Square, just sitting on a cash cow for years to come.
Oh well. But yeah, so I don't know.
There might be licensing issues with that now.
I'm not sure how I like the look of Halo Anniversary, the actual look of the new graphics. Obviously they're sharper, but when you press that button and you go back to the original, in that level they're showing is Silent Cartographer, which is one of the best levels in gaming history, I think. And if you just look out across the sea and you see the Halo, it's just a sky map, but I prefer the old one. It's somehow it looks. I don't know. Obviously, it's lower res, but I prefer the art style that it was to what they're going with now, because it's a bit too sort of too colourful or something, or too like
too gloomy.
It's too like the front cover.
contrasty.
It's too like the front cover of a 1970s sci-fi novel. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's less like Alien and more like just it's all sort of nebula and nice pinks and blues and I don't know. Space is pink. It's a bit more Space is pink, and I don't know if that suits it, but I don't know. So yeah. Just because we're talking about remakes, that's why I mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean that's one I'm not sure about, in all honesty, because it's like it doesn't seem. I mean, I know it's like a decade old now, pretty much, but it's like I'm not sure if it really is old enough, or the technology of the Xbox was bad enough to warrant a remake. I mean, it's kind of feel the same way about Beyond Good and Evil. I mean, I'm glad they did remake it because it didn't sell well enough for what is an amazing game.
Yeah.
So a remake to make more sales and perhaps get Ubisoft to hurry up making a second is a good thing, but it didn't really need it, if you know what I mean. The PS2 game was fine because it's PS2. Yeah. You know, there wasn't really much wrong with it, so it's a bit of an awkward one.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, I was thinking the other day, we were saying that about the graphics of the original Deus Ex being that I think that the graphics of Half-Life that was 2 years prior are better than Deus Ex, which came out in 2000. Probably well, right, another comparison is that the next year, Halo came out. Yeah. And that looks a million times better than Deus Ex.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks fine, even now.
It's still perfectly playable. Anyway. Admittedly, the faces look shocking.
Oh, yeah. But
the faces are Halo 1's biggest issue.
But to be fair, the faces in Halo 3 are quite shit. They're not nearly so good as Half-Life 2's.
That's very true.
I mean, they're a bit better.
They kind of have that plasticine, dead eyes.
They're just not good. Even in the cutscenes, they're just not good.
Especially, it's just the Marines, I think, that are the worst aspects of it. If you just look at a random Marine, there's an amorphous blob of flesh where a face should be.
Mendoza.
Yeah. Captain fucking Keyes.
Oh, he looked terrible.
And all the mouth animations in Halo 1 were literally just puppet.
Yeah, like Half-Life 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh my god. I wanted to talk about as well. This was following on because I wanted to show Zach Assassin's Creed at one point while my internet was down.
It's not his sort of game.
Right, well, I know. Well, I don't
you give a shit about Assassin's Creed, do you?
I don't. I've never seen enough of it to care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's convenient.
It's on your wish list. It's on your Steam wish list.
Not anymore, remember?
Or was it not? You cleaned it?
Yeah, I cleaned up my Steam wish list.
No, good.
Now that I don't have to have 10 things on there, I was like, get rid of all that shit.
Having no internet sucks is what I've got a note here down.
True.
Basically because so much relies on its presence, even stuff you don't expect. Assassin's Creed, for instance. See, I didn't think this was...
got the Ubisoft deal.
Well, I didn't think it was early enough to have the Ubisoft
I can remember when it happened. I was sure the first Assassin's Creed happened before they did that thing. I thought that whole story was about Assassin's Creed 2.
So did I. Maybe they retrofitted it or something.
I mean, my disc is a bit weird in all honesty anyway, because it's one that comes with a graphics card, so it's not the retail edition.
Of what?
Of Assassin's Creed.
Oh, right, so you didn't buy it off Steam?
No, I didn't buy it.
I've
got the GPU bundled edition. So I wonder if there was something there. But basically, when my internet went down, the game went glitchy as shit. It would hold up every now and then start working, and eventually froze out completely.
Oh, was that one of those degradations for pirates?
Possibly. But it only happened if I don't have an internet connection.
Yeah, they assume that you're pirating it if you don't have a connection, and then they deliberately degrade your game.
More like that it was trying to do something on the
okay.
Not. I didn't see it as a degradation thing.
Right.
Really.
No, it seemed the crash might have just been a crash. Fairness, but it did seem quite a lot worse. And I tried it a couple of times, and it was bad both times. Internet came back, works fine. So it's fuck you, Ubisoft.
Well, how do you know it wasn't something else running on your system that was
pinging it? I don't know. It's hard to tell, but basically, no internet sucks.
Yeah.
And the other annoying thing is obviously my Xbox, because it's been repaired and replaced
several times,
a number of times. A lot of my live arcade games weren't available.
Oh.
Because it requires... Although Zach says there's a way of transferring that shit, but I'm not sure.
Right. That's annoying.
Because it links the live arcade things to the literal hardware.
Yeah, when you buy a game, it ties the game to your console, so anyone on that console can play it.
That's why I have a copy of Braid, because I think Jackie bought it or something, and now I have Braid, which is handy. I never bought it.
But yeah, because it's tied to your console.
Yeah.
You get it. Anyone on that console is allowed to use it, but because this isn't the same console anymore, I have to be logged in for it to be accessed. So no Carcassonne for me.
Oh, sucks.
And, except so the iPhone came out.
Although you'd want to play that online anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably.
But still.
But you know what I mean? There wasn't just that. Castle Crashers was locked out.
Isn't there new content for Castle Crashers this week or something?
Oh, really?
I heard something of it. Sounds a bit weird because it's quite a few years old, but I heard there was DLC or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just irritating. Have internet, bitches.
That one, I think, is solvable, but Rob just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
There's some kind of transfer mechanism where you can relink.
But do you have to be online in order to do it? Solve it?
Oh, probably, yeah. I'd have to go to Xbox.com to probably authorise it.
Although I did hear that, I think if I remember correctly, when it was another thing they were talking about on one of the Bombcasts. I think he was saying that it might actually be like a physical disc.
Oh, right.
Or something. I have no idea.
Anyway, bit annoying. It left me with quite a drastically diminished library of stuff to do.
When you maybe should have been playing Final Fantasy or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Did you?
No, not during that period. It was only a few days, but it was a bad 3 days.
Well, it was also bad for you because you don't have a television.
No, all my TV comes through the internet.
So is that your?
Oh, I've got more. Rage HD was free, so I've got that on my iPhone.
Oh yeah,
it's fine.
Fine, yeah.
It's like a shooting gallery.
Was it free for a day or something?
Yeah, roughly.
All right.
Well, it might have been longer than that. It might have been over QuakeCon.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And it's quite nice. Graphics are impressive for an iPhone game.
Yeah.
It's basically a shooting gallery. No real complaints. What else have I got written down here? Sonic CD has been announced for XBLA.
And every platform under the sun, supposedly. Yep. That's nice.
Finally!
Hooray!
And they're not fucking around with it, it's just going to be like an emulated version.
Yeah, finally. It's like, holy crap. It's like they're probably one of the best of the Sonic games.
At long fucking last.
It's finally being recognised.
They're just listening to their fans now, aren't they? At some point, like last year, or slightly before, they decided to listen to the fans.
Although unfortunately, as we pointed out, no Sonic CD levels in Generations, so...
But to be fair, the Sonic CD levels were the kind of the least original, shall we say. They were all kind of different versions of levels that have gone before.
It's not like all the levels in Generations are generic.
No, but you know what I mean? It was more, Sonic CD was more criminal of that than most of the other Sonic games. Like there's a Green Hill Zone. Wait, there's a Chemical Zone. There's a Labyrinth Zone. Yeah, it's just a direct rip of Sonic.
But they're just well designed,
pretty much. Yeah.
They should have just used the Stardust Speedway. That was the one that was different, where it was like made of weird trumpets.
True, the trumpet thing was kind of different, but then again, you could argue that the Speedway was in Sonic 1 again. Sort of.
Was it?
Oh man, I saw the footage of...
well, not exactly in the same way, no, but there's sort of like that sort of greeny level. I can't remember exactly.
No, I don't remember it.
I saw footage of the City Escape modern Sonic level on Generations. It looks almost indistinguishable from Sonic Adventure 2.
The parts that are like set pieces they've just ripped off, and the parts that join them together are different, which is kind of weird. It kind of always feels wrong. It's like they should have just put the actual level in.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the modern version of Spagonia from Sonic Unleashed. It's like, that's quite lazy. It's pretty much the same.
Well, that one they didn't have to change because it's basically the same mechanics.
Kinda.
Whereas they wouldn't be able to use like the Sonic Adventure 2 version of City Escape with the boost mechanics because it's not made for that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Spagonia was the poster child for Sonic Unleashed in terms of it was the Sonic Engine's shining moment with all the buildings and stuff on display during the high up shots and stuff. It was pretty cool. But as I say, it just feels like a lazy decision.
Bit lazy.
Don't be lazy, Sega.
But all of them are lazy, as we discussed.
Well, no, if you think about it, like City Escape for Classic is kind of cool.
Yeah, but I don't know how the mechanics... That's the main problem, of course, is like, we pretty much know how the modern mechanics is going to work in every case. They're just all going to be for boost levels, but to turn the other levels that they've chosen from the other games into the classic style platforming, that's where they have to actually be clever.
It depends if they're being like Sonic Colors level inventive, really.
Yeah. Well, there's the Sonic Colors level. I guess they have to use Wisps in classic Sonic, which will work because they're just using Spikes and Rocket, which is basically 2D motion.
2D mechanics. Yeah.
I heard that there is news of Sonic 4 Episode 2.
Finally.
Yeah, there's news. Like, they're going to do it, obviously.
Well, they already
I know, but they, as in, they've
I
reaffirmed.
was trying to find like one of our early podcasts yesterday that I consider as one of our funniest ones because I remember listening to it while I was waiting for a plane in San Francisco, and we were talking about Sonic 4 then because that was when the demo came out, and it's been a fucking year for episodic content again.
Episodic content is just
it's just wrong. The only people that get it, Telltale get it right.
Yeah,
listen to them. Everyone else, you suck. Especially you, Valve.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm done.
Zachary Bose.
Rob, out!
What have you been playing?
Nitus out.
Nitus out.
Nitus is done.
Nitus, what have you been playing?
Arf.
I've been playing two things, mainly.
Oh, yeah?
We'll start with the lesser one of the two, I guess, and also the one that I played like a entire week ago, so I can remember less of it.
Okay.
I randomly decided to pick up and play that Space Pirates and Zombies thing.
S.P.A.Z.
Yeah, with the incredibly unpolitically correct acronym of S.P.A.Z.
That's fine in America. It's fine in America.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
and they're not Nintendo, so they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care about making trains spasmodic.
Don't they know that spaz means retard in the UK?
No, the Americans don't.
They don't, apparently. So, yeah.
That's why, because people get offended when I think a little bit. Like, retard isn't politically correct thing to say. No. But I don't mind people saying I say it because I don't think of it as being bad because it's American. It's like it doesn't really mean like if I said spaz that I would consider that offensive. But retard just sounds like retard. I don't really
So that was not offensive at all, really.
Not even slightly. Exactly. Because it's American.
It's made a bit of a joke of, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if I called you a fag, like, what's that mean?
It's not like even in
like, you're a cigarette? What?
Well, it's weird, because we don't even
Who cares?
we don't really make fun of the word spastic in this country, you know, because retard
not
is
anymore.
retard is the proper name for it in America, isn't it? And but it's used in a joke as well.
Like spastic would
retarded,
but it would be mentally retarded. I suppose would be the.
You'd have to say it in full, is what you're saying.
But
you have to qualify the level of retardation in order for it to be offensive.
They still wouldn't use that as the actual term for someone with mental disability, would they? Anymore? Maybe they used to.
It's the colloquial term, isn't it? We'd just say learning difficulties or something, or some sort of like not.
Yeah, learning difficulties or something. Yeah. But no,
other than the Spastic Society.
Yeah, Spastic's okay because they actually call themselves that, and like the charity is called Scope is like used to be.
We've had this conversation before.
It's like it's a technical term. Basically.
Anyway, Spaz.
It is. Whereas Spaz is offensive, and retard is technically offensive, but I don't consider it so because it's American.
There have been so many, sort of like things called Spaz in video games, isn't there? Well, I can think of. There's always like a side. There's been a few games with side characters called Spaz. I can only. There's definitely been a few, but yeah, Jazz Jackrabbit had Spaz as the main,
and he was retarded, literally.
Yeah,
so that made it doubly offensive.
Yeah, that's not good. Cliffy B, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It was
He made those games, right?
He did. It was epic. Yeah, that's how they started, bitches. Yeah, pretty much. It was Jazz Jackrabbit.
Is that out on Xbox? They should release that.
No.
It should really be, yeah. It was never a bad game. It could quite easily come back as an arcade game.
Yeah.
Man, that's a thought.
Yeah. Anyway,
go Epic. Yeah, but I can't think... I'm sure there's at least 2 more games that I've played that has Spaz referenced as a character.
I think in one of the old Metroid games, before it became the wave beam, it was called the Spazer. Like S.P.A.Z.Z.E.R.
Spazer.
Well, maybe that wasn't Metroid, maybe that was just a similar Metroid type game, but I'm sure there was a gun that was just called a Spazer.
Deploy the Spazzer! It flies through the air. It'd be like one of our sound schemes for like games that we used to do when they stored all their sounds as WAVs.
Yeah. Exactly.
Chunk!
Rumble, 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 rumble.
So yeah, Spaz. It's a game. Space Pirates and Zombies.
And?
Not very much zombies is the trouble. Well, yet. Because basically...
What kind of game is it?
It's Space Pirates, so you're flying around in space. It's like...
2D? 3D?
Yeah, it's like a top-down 2D like space
spin.
thing. Yeah, sort of...
There's quite a lot of spin to it, isn't there? But apart from the controls.
Well, yeah, it's not...
Or asteroids or something. I don't know.
Yeah, asteroids.
One of those
top-downy space shootery games where you're just flying around and like you fight things, and you don't really shoot asteroids very much.
No.
It's like mining is kind of dumb to collect resources. Really, you're just stealing resources off all the enemies you kill. Everyone has something in their hold. I have that. But yeah, you just sort of fly around and shoot things, and you unlock like different ship hulls of various sizes, and you can equip, or they all have like a weapon slot layout, so you can choose what weaponry you want on your ship and that kind of thing. So it has like various upgrades and unlocks as you progress, and you have a galaxy map to explore where you jump from system to system. It's like the goal of the game is like to get to the middle of the galaxy, because you're like, you think there's some giant resource or something there, and you're like, we want all this money, naturally. Pirates. So you're going after this thing, but like the inner systems there's been this like, it's like after humanity expanded into the universe, it was like, oh no, it became too big to manage, and then there was wars, and then like they locked off the inner portion of the galaxy with giant gates or something to prevent wars spreading or something. But it was actually zombies. So you're like, so you can fly around outside, and you fly around the galaxy and like collect some shit. You know, you have to upgrade your ship so you can make the big jump into the middle. And then when you unlock the gate, you go in there and it's like, oh no, it's actually hella zombie infested. And that's as far as I got, because it takes fucking ages to get to that point. Which is the main problem. It's like Space Pirates and zombies, except you won't see the zombies until you've played like several hours.
So Space Pirates and zombies, this should really be called Space Pirates and then zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
With a side order of zombie finale. It's like the dessert to the Space Pirate dish.
But I mean, I'm guessing, judging by like the level, it's like all the space systems that you can fly to are like labelled as a level, which gives you an idea of like how tough they are compared to you.
Oh, I see.
Like what technology level they're at, basically. And it's like I spent a long time going all the way around the edge, like clearing out all the outer levels, all the outer systems to pick up basically all the weapons and upgrades that they had. And so I spent ages doing that, and I leveled up to like 47 or something out of 100.
You're talking like 15, 16 hours here, though.
Yeah, it's like so a lot of hours just grinding around these outer systems, and then I got to like 47, and then so like the first outer ring of the inner systems are about 45, 46-ish. So it's like, okay, I'm finally high enough level. I've got everything, all the weapons and the shit that I can possibly have. So now I can open this gate, and then I'm like, oh look, here's where the zombies appear. But then all these systems, like the level 45 systems, still totally kick my ass. It's like, what the fuck is going on? These are meant to be equal level to me.
Weird.
And they just destroy me. So it's like, what the fuck are you doing? I guess I'm just going to have to grind some more and go up some extra levels to make myself supposedly overpowered.
So how do you grind? You just shoot up random enemies? What, space pirates?
Well, you get
and you get loot.
It's like the leveling system is you have like 2 resources, and then basically it's sort of an XP resource. You have like minerals, obviously, for building ships.
Yeah.
And
you can mine.
Buying things, sort of. You can sort of mine.
Or get it off enemies.
Yeah, sort of. It's a bit of a weird... If you want to, like, mine, you have to, like, go to a civilian mining station, and then just sort of sit next to the asteroid they're mining, and then bits of it fly off, and then you collect it. It's not exactly active mining.
It's kind of like... This is sounding like Freelancer, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
In 2D.
In 2D, yeah, Snatch.
Do you get missions?
You do get missions. They just randomly spawn.
Quests.
It's just like fly to a mission zone and then kill some things.
Like Freelancer.
Yeah, like Freelance. But you don't choose to do them. It's just like they're just naturally there in the system, and if you just walk to the location, then you're doing them.
So there's no stations to like...
No.
We don't own this place, but we have an understanding of the people who do.
No. But so, yeah, you have the minerals, and then you also have blokes. They're called goons because they're basically clones, essentially. And so whenever you destroy a ship, like, the escape pods come out and then you can just scoop them up. And then, but there's also like a weird percentage chance that they won't agree to join you, and then you just shoot them back out the airlock.
Alright, fuck off.
There's just constantly guys being flung into space all the time.
Oh, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. But then it basically becomes, it's essentially a slave trade, because you have like 3 different types of systems. You have colony systems, which is basically pay minerals to buy goons. Mm. You have the mining system, which is pay goons to get money. The opposite. And then there's the third type, which is the research systems, where your third resource is data, which you get, like, every enemy you kill, some data comes out, which is how you level up. That's like the experience points.
I see.
So you can you get like little data blobs that come out of ships, and they do actually disappear over like 60 seconds, so you do actually have to quickly go and scoop them up. Mm. But then you have like science stations where you can trade goons for data. So that's like how you level up quickly, is by basically jumping to a bunch of colony systems, loading up as many goons as you possibly can, then going to a science system, and then just unloading them all for free experience points.
Oh, I see. Clever.
Not really that clever. It's a really simplistic system.
Especially as far as trade goes in the game.
Yeah.
It, really?
The only sort of element of more complicatedness is like in the system, the starbase in that system upgrades if you do specific missions.
Oh, okay.
So like they can start high leveled or they can start low leveled. It's totally random. But then if you like level them up, they get more of whatever resource they're making. So it's like if you upgrade a colony system up to the maximum level, they make a lot more dudes. So you can spend some time specifically like looking for all the science systems, maxing them up, then looking for the colony systems, max them up, and then you can get a lot more data a lot quicker.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, that was sort of the grind. But I apparently haven't grounded enough.
Grounded.
Yeah.
Grounded.
I haven't grinded enough to actually get to a level. So it's really annoying because the like items that you can attach to your ships, I literally can't get any more of those now because I've got all the ones from the outer systems. There's more in the inner systems, but I can't get into those systems to get those new items. So I'm stuck with whatever equipment I have. The only thing I can do is like when you level up, obviously you put points into like lasers or whatever, which just makes them generically better.
Okay.
So that's all I can do now, is just basically grind until I'm strong enough to survive.
Does it have any kind of rock, paper, scissors, so if you change your loadout to a better kind?
Sort of. I mean, it's like lasers are good against shields, and then cannons are good against hulls.
Yeah.
But the thing is that most of the time the shields go down so quickly, you might as well just stick with cannons.
Fair enough, yeah.
But the lasers are much easier to use, of course, because the lasers are instant, whereas the cannons are projectile. So you don't have to lead with the lasers.
It's kind of like in the X-Wing games, it was like ion cannons were good against shields.
Yeah.
And then the standard laser cannons.
Yeah.
What are they called? Yeah.
Laser cannons.
There's turbo lasers.
Oh yeah, turbo lasers.
No, but
turbo lasers are the big
ones.
The
big ones, yeah.
Gun turrets.
But what were the normal ones? Just laser cannons, were they?
Yeah, I don't know.
They had some name. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, carry on.
S.P.A.Z.
Yeah, but then I guess the actual cool thing is like the ship hull system, where whenever you kill an enemy ship you don't have, the blueprint comes out, and then if you collect enough of those, you reverse engineer it. So after you've killed an enemy ship a certain number of times, you just gain the ability to build that ship, and then they all have slot layouts. So it's like you can put it's like on all the gun slots you can have different guns, but you get like utility modules that can go in any slot. So you can actually like replace guns with like more shield boosters or whatever. Oh. So you can actually sort of customize your ships to some extent to make them specifically into different roles. But the trouble with that is that I found that virtually all the ships have completely useless slot layouts. So there's only like two different ships, like two different large size ships that I've ever used, because all the other ones have stupid useless slots. Like, wow, I could be a science vessel that has shitty armor, 2 goddamn guns, and 3 utility slots that you can't put anything apart from, like, tractor beams or those shield booster things in. It's like, 2 guns! Totally fucking useless! In the only ones that have decent levels of guns don't have enough utility slots, so it's the other problem. So it's like, I'm really hoping the huge classes of ships that I haven't got any of yet, the huge hulls, they must have decent levels of guns. That's my main problem. My damage output is so shitty.
Right. Damage per second or whatever.
Yeah. And I've put, like, I haven't leveled up the, like, beam technology research or any of the weapon technology research nearly as much as I have the shields, because I'm like, I really need to survive in order to be able to shoot people.
Yeah. But
that's not working very well. And I was like, well, maybe I should have just gone all out offensive. It's like, maybe if I kill them fast enough, then I won't have to worry about my shields.
That's true.
Or something. I don't know. It just seems really weird. And I've only just got to the bit with zombies, which introduces another mechanic where it's like, you have, up to this point, you have crew on your ship. And that's just been a generic sort of, the more crew that you have extra, they call it extra. I think as far as I can tell, if you have like 0% extra crew on your ship, that basically means none. It's like, apparently one guy can just pilot these ships by himself. It's like the captain.
Right.
He's just like sealed in.
Yeah. And
then you have extra crew. And then like the more percentage of extra crew you have on your ship, that like increases how fast your hull repairs. But then...
How does that work? Like, in the middle of a space fight, do the goons just throw themselves into the cracks?
I'm sure they have some kind of way of repairing it, but yeah. But yeah, so that
Let's get the welding torches out and try and weld a hull back together.
Yeah, so that
patching up the hull was.
Yeah, that repairs your hull, but then it also your ship has like a crew capacity. So obviously you having a high percentage of excess crew takes up your crew capacity, and then that capacity is what lets you scoop up extra guys.
Oh, right.
Until you reach the capacity of your ship. So you basically you sort of upgrade your crew mid-mission, and so you repair faster because you picked up more guys, whatever.
So maybe on those hard ones, you should set your like extra crew to super high.
Well,
so
the trouble is, once you start taking your hull
regen.
damage, you're kind of fucked anyway. Because it's really difficult to re-establish your shields, because you basically have to take no damage for like several seconds to get your shields to come back online, which is virtually impossible because shit is flying around everywhere constantly. But then the zombie mechanic is like... it's actually really weird, because you have zombified ships, which are just like act like ships or whatever. But you also have literal zombies that just fly through space, like bodies. You can see little, like, dude-shaped bodies going, following your ships around. And then the idea is, like, if they attach to your ship, if you actually stop long enough that they can actually attach. Because you can basically fly faster than them, so you just get a sort of trail of zombies following you. But if you stop and they get on board, then they, like, start infecting your crew. And then if your crew gets infected to a certain amount, possibly, I don't know if it's just 100% or whether it's a certain amount. But obviously having more crew is better at this point, because you can resist the infection by fighting it off. Your literal crew can fight back. But once it reaches like 100%, your ship gets taken over and becomes a zombie ship. But you can there's also like you can have the button to just vent all your crew.
All right.
Too many zombies, get rid of them.
Awesome. Fuck the crew.
Yeah, so I haven't really experienced real fights against zombies yet. It seems the AI ship, because you have like a fleet, which is basically like the ship you're controlling and then like 2 or 3 other ones.
So is your ship invulnerable to good infection when you have 0% crew?
I don't know. That seems kind of weird if it would be.
Maybe if one zombie just gets on board.
Yeah, you're fine.
You're something.
But yeah, so it's like you have your fleet of like one ship you control, and then like 2, and you can jump between them whenever you want, obviously.
Cool.
But it seems like the AI kind of tards out as soon as the zombies get involved, which might make it more difficult because they're constantly trying to like fly and then turn around and shoot all the little zombies that are following them, and then so they're just like looping crazily, and it's like maybe this isn't going to help me much.
Yeah, I see. They don't have the strategy that you have, just letting them trail after you while you're dealing with the main enemies.
And they also, I think you have to maybe start thinking about using like ships with turrets so that they can shoot behind them while running away and that sort of thing.
Cool.
So yeah,
that'd be the big hulls.
Well, you do get smaller hulls with turrets, but then the trouble is, it's like you only get a turret. It's like you get no other guns or anything.
Yeah, that's no good.
So yeah,
I have interest. What do you think raw science looks like?
Well, apparently it looks like a little glowing ball.
It's just because apparently science can leak in that game, can't it?
But that's one of the...
It's one of the best quotes from the voiceovers. It's like, the science is leaking!
Yeah. It's when you're shooting a science
We're leaking
station.
science fast!
Although in that case, I think most of the time when you start shooting stations and something starts leaking out, it's either... you either get like little bits of minerals that start shooting out, or like just a million blokes start falling out. It's like, oh shit, air vent.
We're leaking blokes.
But yeah, the science is leaking out.
Oh, but surely those blokes would just throw themselves into the hole in order to patch it up like white blood cells. Or however the fuck that works.
I don't think it's the best material for plugging, flesh. It's probably is fairly porous.
Yeah.
It would help to some degree. If you had enough of it, just pile it up.
But yeah, that's pretty much...
There's
not really much to it in terms of... in theory, it's going to be... They've suggested that it might be in a sort of Terraria style. There's going to be several updates that are going to actually include like more stuff, like more ships and more mission types and that sort of thing. So,
did you get this off Steam?
Yeah.
Is it in a sale or something?
Yeah, it was.
Cool. Okay, so you recommend it?
So.
Well, if you like that kind of space shootery thing, and if you like a game that's not at all complicated and quite hard,
and you want plenty of your time to be spent on it,
then it's good.
Yeah, flying around.
Cool. Okay, can I talk about me before we move on to the Deus Ex?
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay.
Oh right.
What else is there?
Just quickly, unless you've got anything else.
No, that was the main thing that was last week before Deus Ex.
Okay. Well, I haven't been playing very much, but I did play a few missions of Call of Duty Black Ops.
Ooh.
And I will say that
this news coming to you from 2010.
Yeah, this news coming to you from quite a while ago. Just like Assassin's Creed coming to you from 2000.
Yeah, right. Okay. Perhaps I should have thought that one.
Final Fantasy 13 coming to you from last year. And
fuck you.
Fuck you then. Fuck you. So anyway, Call of Duty Black Ops. I kind of like the story stuff. I prefer the story stuff in this to Modern Warfare 2, definitely.
It's much better, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of like...
How far have you got?
Not that far. I'm at Vietnam or whatever. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of that. It's sort of just one of those jumping storylines.
Yeah. But basically, I quite like the Cold War vibe and the number station thing and the interrogation scenes and everything.
It's really well put together, actually.
So
the storyline flows quite well in this compared to Modern Warfare's. It's all over the fucking place.
So that's quite nice. I much prefer it in that respect.
Definitely.
But...
Here comes the butt.
I don't think I like Call of Duty
Talking
anymore.
about butts again. No.
I don't think I like...
Wasn't me.
He said,
here comes the butt.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
No. But yeah, I don't think I like Call of Duty anymore. I'm trying to remember when I did like Call of Duty. And I think...
Presumably Call of Duty 2.
I liked 2,
1.
but I think I liked 1 and 2, possibly because I played them on PC.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that maybe I just
They were still PC games back then.
They were, yeah. I mean,
You
Call
know,
of Duty 1 was totally a PC game, yeah. And
if you know what I mean, even Call of Duty 2 was designed
for the PC. And it
with
happened
an
to be...
Xbox version for the new gen.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it was kind of an experiment putting it on console then. Now it's a fully console thing, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure if... Maybe I just prefer the Call of Duty style of shooting gameplay with a mouse. Maybe, but I don't know.
Right. I think I talked about this so many times before. I think the problems with Call of Duty are more deep-rooted. I don't think the control is essentially the issue.
Yeah.
I think it's more about what the world is doing than what you're doing that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, like enemy wells still exist. You know, the fact that they can shoot perfectly on the hard difficulty levels through thick smog. You know, there are just so many stupid things about that game that means, you know, that it does make it hard, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
For the hardcore, presumably that's what they're after, but my brain is sitting there going, that is not possible.
And like...
Or, this is dumb.
Yeah,
you know,
it's dumb.
You know, it's dumb entertainment.
And like, in the single player, it's like, which is what I'm talking about, because I haven't played the multiplayer, I'm not talking about the multiplayer, but it's like...
I refuse.
It's like, I don't know, because in Halo, there's like, I love Halo, it's awesome, but I like the control of Halo on the console, but also, like, there's a manageable number of enemies, and you know, like, elites are scary, and, like, grunts aren't so bad, and there's a dynamic going on, and each fight, you have kind of awareness of where all the people are and what's going on. And Call of Duty is like, there's fucking tons of guys everywhere, and you can sort of run past them, and you might not die, or maybe you will, and, like...
there's so much random.
Yeah, it's just insanity going on, and I don't feel like... If I don't feel like I have any real control over the situation, I don't have much fun. You know what I mean?
It's
like...
precisely that. It's when you get to the certain bits that I complained about when I talked about it the first time. Like, you'll really gnash your teeth. Because the majority... Your success or failure is out of your control.
Yeah.
It just depends on the circumstance and the luck of where people happen to be at that precise moment in time.
I mean, that is almost the definition of bad game design in my book. Like, if you're...
You're probably right,
If your success or failure is out of your control...
It's not really a game at that point, is it? It's like a dice roll.
And
I mean,
hang on. You kind of got there.
But, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's not a skill-based game anymore.
Yeah. But it's like... I mean, that Vietnam bit that have just happened, it's like, oh, we're in a camp and stuff. Oh, there's a gigantic fight suddenly happening. And it's like waves and waves of enemies. And it's way cool in like a sort of movie style.
In a spectacle way.
It's scary that they just keep coming and stuff. But it's just like, I'm not having fun because it's like, I shoot that guy and then there's another guy and there's a guy in the trench right next to me and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Where's the impact of what I'm doing?
Exactly. There's no impact of what I'm actually doing. And it reminded me heavily of a bit in Call of Duty 1, the add-on pack, which was called something offensive, something. Anyway, it had...
something offensive.
It was quite offensive to me. But it was the Battle of the Bulge. and you just
That's quite offensive.
You just had to fight waves of Germans coming towards you in the snow, and it was pretty much exactly the same sequence as this bit in Vietnam, and it's like it just wasn't.
Oh,
good.
You actually
United Offensive, was it called?
No. Yeah, I think you might be right. But you're talking about the bit where you're up high and there's the barrels to kick?
Not yet, I don't think.
No, I think that's the real fucker.
Yeah, I think I'm on just where like waves and waves of enemies come towards you and you're in a trench, and then eventually 3 tanks arrive and you have to shoot them with a law or whatever. Yeah. And it's pretty much the exact same sequence as in United Offensive, where the waves of enemies come towards you and then the tanks arrive and you have to shoot them with a bazooka.
As well,
it's the same sequence, and it's like...
There might be a sequence of that in COD 4, maybe it's Modern Warfare 2. They all blend together, too, but they've done that before.
But it's fucking boring now. I don't like it. I mean, all the spectacle and everything is great, but I don't think I don't think it looks great anymore.
No, I mean, its prowess is on the majority of stuff, on the volume of stuff going on screen, not on fidelity. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Which is fine to an extent because it needs the frame rate to carry that spectacle as well as it does. But there are. Do you know what I mean? When there are certain bits where you just you look at a texture that you can walk right up to, and it's just like, damn, that made it into the game. Yeah, it's just like, you sure that's not a beta thing or something? It's quite, that's really quite bad.
Yeah, but I don't really
the sort of
mind
things
that.
Most for some the bit that really riles me about Call of Duty is it seems to have this impenetrability to proper reviews. Do you get what I mean? Like when you read a thing, they're like, "Oh wow, it's amazing! It's totally fucking awesome," and they don't complain about the things that make it awful. Yeah. I mean, it's not awful. I'm not.
No, I'm not saying
I
it's
take
terrible.
that back in the whole, but there are certain bits of it that are just so wrong. It's like I also want to bring up on the fact that I said that I complained about it being dumb entertainment. This coming from me sounds a bit wrong, so
popcorn stuff is all right once in a while, No, not everything.
This coming from me who likes Bulletstorm,
Yeah, not everything has to be eco, does it? You know what I mean? No. And I like that, but it's just like, and I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying I don't like it anymore. I don't not interested in Call of Duty anymore. So I'm not sure if I can.
I mean, I'm glad I picked up Black Ops because out of Modern Warfare 2 and even COD 4, it is better than them by, I think, quite a reasonable margin. COD 4 had the kind of, this is kind of new.
Yeah, that was nice.
Kind of vibe. But actually, when you think about it, it's quite flawed.
I mean, the set pieces...
But the story in Black Ops is what carries it more than anything else. It's the same game as COD 4 and all of the others, but somehow the story carries this one. You can put up with some of it, but just don't play it in the hard mode because it's masochistic.
No, I went straight onto...
I gave up on that really quickly because it's just... And the same thing with... Actually, no, COD 4, I persisted with veteran mode right to the end because that wasn't so bad, actually, in veteran mode. Whereas everything since Modern Warfare 2, which has only been Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops, has just been not fun in veteran mode. Yeah. You didn't feel... It felt hard in Modern Warfare, but not impossible. Whereas now it just feels impossible.
And I know you're saying the story in Black Ops is better, and I agree.
It gets so good.
I agree it's better, but I think level atmosphere-wise, I don't think they've beaten Gillies in the Mist. I thought that was genuinely quite good.
That is the high point good in the series.
Yeah.
In terms of atmosphere. Yeah. Well, I suppose... I think Modern Warfare 4 and a lot... COD 4 had, in a way, a lot of the atmosphere done right, because I suppose... It was the first of its type to use everything that the Xbox could really do. Yeah. Surround sound that's amazing. I'm still ridiculously impressed with the sound design of those games. It's fantastic.
Battlefield is almost better now. Or like people say that the Bad Company sound design is something to behold, and I think Battlefield 3 will be even better.
Well, yeah, I can't really comment, having not really played.
Yeah,
the Bad Company.
That's something people say about those games is that the sound design.
I don't know. I think I agree with you completely on this, and that they're still good games, but I don't get the popular. Why are they so big? A bit of me just wants to sort of just go, I don't get it. I suppose the majority of the popularity is for the multiplayer. Yeah, but even that I don't get.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. We can just play TF2. We're fine. But and
Halo,
Battlefield 3, Halo, Monday Night Combat. But Yeah, I don't mind that other people like it. It's fine. I'm done with it now. I'm not even. It's only a short campaign, probably 7 hours or 5 hours or something. I don't know if I can be bothered to keep going.
It'd be about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think thrashing it on normal mode.
I don't know if I can be asked really. You know? Anyway, but that's my view.
I'm so not interested in Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah,
I don't think I could be less interested in it.
Whereas Gears 3, I'm kind of
Gears 3, I'm fucking psyched about that.
Yeah, so there you go.
Although I am still pissed off that the limited edition is like 60 quid.
You and your limited frickin'...
I know it's stupid, you know, but it's like I've got
really
the first...
is genuinely stupid. I'm sorry, man.
I've got the first 2, and it's like Gears and Halo are like my most treasured series almost. So
that's true. Like, it's fair enough, yeah.
It's my collector's stamp.
Your stamp, I am a gamer. Check me out.
Yeah, bitches.
Does look good.
It does look pretty amazing.
It's a bit weird. Like I was over at Ho and David's house on Saturday and stuff, and David has a proper CD collection of music CDs, and all my music. I have loads of music, and I really like, but no one can walk into my house and see what I like because I don't have any physical. It's all MP3s.
Yeah,
it's
download the box
nice.
art and then print them out. And
Yeah. I'm literally considering doing something like that because it's kind of nice.
I was wondering if I could get a screensaver that basically just found all my box art, because there's a really nice screensaver on the Mac from iTunes actually that sort of puts all the box art and stuff you've bought into a nice screensaver. I want that on my PC.
Well, I'm sure it exists. Let's go and find it because I would like. Yeah,
but searching for screensavers is like one of the most dangerous things you can do on the internet.
Yeah, that's true. Incredibly dangerous, I suppose. Yeah. No. is Naomi doing a Max a Better dance?
No, she was singing the internet's for porn, I think. But
boobs for all.
Boobs for all.
I thought she was a boobs Nazi.
She is a boob Nazi.
No longer.
It's like it's a bit of an awkward relationship, from two political backgrounds: the boob Nazis versus the boobisms. Boobists or knockerists. I haven't quite decided on the one.
That's a right boobism, that is.
That's a right boobism.
Oh, it's a classic boobism there from Rob.
Tartars.
So how long we got left?
We got loads of time.
20 minutes?
Do we want to do Deus Ex? Well, actually,
we kind of do.
Well, do we?
Well, Dan's reluctant to do Deus Ex because of spoilers.
I kind of want to.
Well,
I don't mind spoilers.
It's not that hard to avoid spoilers.
I just don't think the conversation will be as interesting if I won't be able to say.
Oh, okay. Let's leave a few minutes at the end for Deus Ex because I want to allude to something we've probably already touched on. I wanted to do this feature, right? Yeah. I kind of toyed with you at the start of the game about on radio.
Naomi's shaking her head. And saying,
it's not going to work in quite the same way because of the format and stuff like that. But on Radio 1 they do this awesome thing in the mornings where they call it the love-hate game. Where I think this is really sweet. Everyone on the team picks a song that they love and a song that they hate.
Okay.
Right. But the idea is that they pick one that's controversial. So they pick for their hate track they pick one that's generally liked.
I see, like Call of Duty.
And for the hate track they pick one that's generally hated. Yeah. So if we apply that to video games, it's not going to work in the same way because they play it in the sense that they have to guess who picked what. And between the three of us, that's going to be kind of easy because we know each other too well.
Yeah.
But, if I was to say that my hate game was GTA 4, for instance,
yeah.
he'd like, oh, that's Rob.
Yeah, that's true.
And, things like that. But Call of Duty, I think...
My hate game would be Smash Brothers, probably.
Probably, yeah. I think it's an interesting subject, just in general, in terms of video games, because, you have a... You can...
The games would be more interesting. What you like and nobody else likes. What would you say?
It's not that.
Space Camp or something.
Yeah, it's like Space Camp and Eve.
Yeah, but no, play Eve. Yeah, I mean,
they have to be the obscure little titles like Racketeer.
No, but you said it's not the people play Eve. You said it's between them, so it's like stuff that I like that you don't like.
Perhaps, yeah.
So
that's easier.
A lot easier, yeah.
And not that many people like Eve, really.
Yeah, well,
it's not like millions of people. It's like hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
Not like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but Eve, it's not numbers of people. It's like how critically, like whether people think it's good more than whether people.
I mean, Eve has an air about
lots
it,
of players.
Eve is one of those games that has a bit of a mystique to it, in that you can sort of. I don't know. From my perspective, it's not a game I would ever play.
But people know it's good.
I kind of appreciate what they've done.
Yeah, exactly.
With it. And that's kind of how I feel about GTA 4, but I feel more strongly against me liking the gameplay. But I appreciate what they've done with it.
Oh, I'll tell you a game I did play yesterday that I wouldn't have thought would be reviewed very highly, but was hilarious fun.
Yeah.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Really?
Yeah, I played it in 4-player with like a bunch of people on a sofa, and it was hilarious fun.
Huh.
It's like a beat 'em up, kind of like, I don't know, Double Drag or something, except isometric 3D.
Okay, yeah.
And you just run around and you basically button mash the crap out of people, as far as I can tell. And you're like
Castle Crashers in 3D.
kind of, yeah. And you're like just Marvel superheroes. So I played as Thor, and then it was like The Thing and like Spider-Man, and random people just mashed together.
It's Marvel vs. Capcom without Capcom in a beat 'em up co-op style.
Yeah, but it's like the writing was really bad, hilariously bad in a comic style. And like the best thing is that like when you're in a party of 4, like you come up to a bad guy and they say their cheesy lines, and then your lines are written out. But you just press A. It's like an old BioWare thing where you just read your lines or whatever.
Yeah.
But if there's 4 people,
your character doesn't play them out.
Isn't voiced. But if there's 4 people, you can, because it tells you who's supposed to be saying the lines out of the 4 characters that you're playing, and you press A to continue on if you're the person who's assigned, right? But that means you can literally read what's on screen and say, "Oh, not going that way, Dr. Doom," or whatever. So it's really hilarious. You can like play the part. It's really funny. You could just smash, and you have this. A lot of the characters, most of them, the Thing just seems to be able to double jump, but most of the characters seem to be able to like Thor can pretty much fly. You just press Y twice, and he just flies, and you can spin. He's holding his arm out like a fist, like this, like comically. But you can hover in the air like that, and you can also spin round, and he of course does this hilarious computer game style. You know how
static animation sort of just rotating.
Static rotation, just like in Battlefield 1942 when you go prone and you spin around, it looks hilarious. It's like you can just fly around and then like you can smash onto the ground, and it's just hilarious, like mindless fun. Yeah, so I would pick that as a love when most people would not even consider it.
I'll tell you what, that does sound pretty cool, actually.
It's stupid, but it's quite fun. And there's nothing bad about it. It's not buggy or anything, as far as I can tell. It's just a bit sort of
brainless.
Yeah, brainless. But quite
it's never a bad thing. Well, it can be a bad thing.
So yeah. And that happened to be another thing I've been playing, so good for that segment.
Yeah, I think some of these like might work actually. It's like, you know, the ones you'd have to pick would probably be sort of like aging games to an extent for your love category.
True.
Like, ones that are a bit off the beaten track. Although I am really struggling. You know, I know
you were the one who came up with this idea, and you can't figure it out.
I know it's my feature, but I'm struggling to actually think of obscure ones that are like, maybe I'm just too mainstream. Oh no, there have been a few, and like Sonic R, I suppose.
Yeah,
I quite liked that.
That's quite obscure, and a lot of people think it's crap. So
yeah, I sort of kind of enjoyed that, and I feel dirty saying that.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
But I suppose.
But then again, we like dumb music, so
yeah. Oh god, the music.
The music was incredibly dumb, so that helped.
I just like the gliding from Knuckles. Is that right?
Yeah, it did have
that was cool.
Knuckles' glide.
I like that feel. What about Star Wars Episode 1 Racer? People don't like that. I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Why don't you like that?
Well, like, one point, PC Gamer put it in their top 100 at like number 95 or something.
Yeah.
And then the next year they were like really embarrassed about it. Acted like, what were we thinking?
Right.
Like, what's so bad about it? It was better than the film.
I'm trying to think of old stuff we used to put. Screamer 2. But that was actually quite regarded.
I think you're going too old, because at this point, video games in general aren't popular enough.
Yeah. Fucking Carmageddon, man.
Yeah, but that was only unpopular because it was controversial. That wasn't. They weren't worried about the quality of the game.
Oh, man, I love that. What about Revolt?
Yeah, that's a good one, because I don't even like that, and a lot of people didn't think it was that great. I think it got 65% from PC Gamer.
Yeah, I thought Revolt on PC was quite actually ahead of its time. If they'd have, like, you know, the physics engine in it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
You know, and the if they'd have capitalised more on the level creation stuff, which, you know, with some hackery was quite deep.
Yeah, a lot of people did that.
Yeah, it was quite a big community at one point, and some of it is still going in places. And well, it was last time I checked, which was about a year ago. And it was just, I don't know, I thought that was surprisingly good. Admittedly, the console iterations. Well, when I say console iterations, I mean the one I played, which was the N64 version. Not so good.
Yep. Well, that might be it then.
Yeah, not so great. PC version, fine. Really could have done better with it. I mean, I wonder if some of the, because it did have a sequel on PS2 only, so it did enough. But apparently, there wasn't much cop again. But that might have been the apparently not much cop that we're kind of used to from the first one. But.
No, I think that one was clearly worse, if I remember correctly.
Well, it wasn't released on PC.
Well, no,
which was a big flaw.
Well,
that was where the fan base was.
You got any likes that no one else likes? Not no one else, but just a few.
Well, the obvious one, going back, is like Hostile Waters, because we thought that was awesome, but no one bought it.
It was freaking sweet, though. But there's loads of games that were considered awesome and no one bought, like Psychonauts. That's slightly different. That's not controversial to like
Beyond
that.
Good and Evil.
Yeah, but it's not like everyone still goes on about Hostile Waters even now.
They should
like
do.
They do with Psychonauts.
That's true.
Beyond Good and Evil falls. I suppose Dr. Draco.
that doesn't even count.
It's not really a game.
That's not even a computer game. That's a board game.
In computer form.
Aha! Well, I think we'll think about that the next time, shall we?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting subject. As I say, I struggled with it, trying to think of some good ones.
So,
Finger Pinata! That's not really...
That's considered
quite
good
like
too.
that, really.
Yeah, I think so. The first one, anyway. But, yeah.
I suppose it must have done well enough to warrant the sequel.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think they were just wanted to make the sequel. I don't think they were worried.
Maybe Rare is just like, you know what, we should have done everything that was in the sequel in the first game.
Yeah. So, do you want to give quick first impressions of Deus Ex in the last 10 minutes, and then we'll do a serious discussion next time?
If you've sat through the last 2 hours waiting for the Deus Ex section after reading the tag list, we do apologise.
Yes.
but it's hard to... I don't know. There's a certain amount we don't want to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I could talk about it. Just you don't want to.
So give us a quick rundown. Do you like it?
It's Deus Ex.
What's going on?
It's Deus Ex.
Yeah. It's like... I think it's like I don't.
Is it Deus Ex?
I don't agree with the
Deus
ridiculous review scores. That's my main thing at the moment.
What are the scores?
It's like 94% and shit off PC Gamer and well over 80 in most cases.
Right.
And I don't think it's worth that much, although it is. But because you can't, the trouble is that's just review scores in general. It's like if you go down to like the 70s, that's basically saying something shit.
I know.
Mediocre level.
Yeah.
Well, and it's clearly better than that.
Giant Bomb gave it like 4. That's out of their 5. That sounds about right.
That's about right.
But they don't have half stars, so they couldn't really give it 3, and they couldn't give it 5.
Yeah.
So they were fucked.
Not fucked. That's fine. That's it.
I think.
What, you think it's worth 3.5? Do you?
Maybe.
Man, you don't like it.
Well, I like it. I just don't think it's incredibly as awesome as everyone says it is. Because it is basically just Deus Ex with new graphics.
Well, that's awesome. I love
No,
Deus
but that's
Ex.
not awesome. They haven't innovated at all.
Well, you've got to start somewhere, man. No one has done anything as good as Deus Ex since. That's 10 years.
I suppose the way to think of it is it's like the sequel that should have happened straight after the first.
Yeah, exactly.
But they've just waited long enough, and it would have been stupid to release a sequel to the original Deus Ex without a new graphics engine.
People should have been iterating on Deus Ex this whole time, but because they haven't, we have to reset.
Yeah, but the trouble is, what they've done is they've made it exactly like Deus Ex.
Yeah.
Way too much like Deus Ex, because they haven't innovated, and they've taken shit out, basically. So, they've simplified parts of it.
Well, that's what happened with 2, isn't it?
Well, they took everything out.
Yeah,
that's true.
They took the Deus
Two
out
is
of
a
X.
completely suck.
Yeah.
But it's like the things that they've simplified make it like more annoying, and there's other things that I maybe don't like so much about it. I don't really like popping in and out of third and first person constantly.
Oh, I love that in Rainbow Six New Vegas or what?
I don't know. I just thought I don't.
Vegas.
It works.
I don't mind it. It kind of works, but it's just the way it looks sometimes is a bit strange. Like the transition to first person is instant. Coming out is kind of a sort of like a swish.
Well, that's because he does an animation to go into cover when you snap into cover and it goes to first person.
Yeah.
But when you click to go back out into first person, it just instantly you're back in first person view, facing whatever direction you were.
But isn't it a click and hold? And then
you can have it hold and
I'd probably have hold.
Toggle.
Because it seems more natural.
But
if
you need to
release
stay in cover for so
immediate.
long, though. That was my problem. That's why it was like Red Faction, where I had it on like press to crouch.
Right, toggle.
I need to go hold it down to stay behind the shit. That's really annoying. And I had to I couldn't. I was thinking when I was setting up the controls, it was like the cover button was right mouse, and I was like, well, I want right mouse button as my aim button, like iron sights or scope.
Well, at least the option is there. Let's put it that way.
So I had to change the cover button onto my side mouse button, like I had for the grappling hook in Just Cause, which I guess is. I've been using that a lot more recently. When I started using it in Team Fortress, to to do my engineer building, I was like, oh yeah, I actually have 4 buttons on this mouse. Maybe I should use them for things.
Trying to remember how it works in Rainbow Six Vegas, because you use the left trigger to stick to cover, and then if you move your movement button up or up when you're in shoulder level cover, then you pop out at the top and you're aiming down the sides.
Right, yeah.
Or if you're at the edge of cover and you press right or whatever, then you pop out of the side and you're looking down the sides.
Yeah.
But then if you're not near cover, I think holding down left goes into iron sights. So I think that's how it works.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. But it's not how it works in Deus Ex.
No, it's basically the same apart from it's a different button. Right. It's not assigned to the same button, which maybe would have made sense because you don't ironsight it while you're in cover, obviously. But you do still go into scope out of cover, I guess. You can pop up with a sniper rifle on top of cover and then go into the scope. And then go
to scope. You don't have to go immediately to scope.
No.
Right.
I think it could have used, and I mentioned this while I was watching Zach play it, that it could probably just have used a little HUD effect, kind of like how Halo does, to indicate when you're to sort of better sort of get that transition right between third and first. Like Halo does the bending of the HUD thing. When it's through your eyes, it's bent around the visor.
Yeah.
When it goes third person, it's not bent, and there's a subtle shift between them.
That's
and
cool.
Halo also has that sort of wash effect that it will do over the HUD sometimes to indicate that you've gone into your vision. Just a little.
But the other
trouble screen would have been enough, I think.
But the other trouble with the first and third person in Deus Ex is that. When you, for example,
that's a real nitpick, really, to be honest.
Not when you're seeing that constantly and it's constantly jerking your vision around.
Maybe,
but then it's like it also has the same thing for like the takedowns.
Oh, the takedowns are a bit weird.
It does like a black fade almost into the takedowns.
There's like a couple of black frames before the animation starts.
Weird.
You know what I mean? It sort of goes boom, boom, into the.
Not quite that quick.
That's not.
It is faded. It's not. It doesn't literally like cut
I
away.
didn't really notice the fade, to be honest. It was quick enough that it looked pretty solid. But there is a black phase. And the other weird, annoying thing with that is that when you do the takedown, it doesn't necessarily mean that where you do it is where the action is actually going to take place.
Oh, it's
like it's an animation.
Yeah, because it did a double takedown on a couple of guys leaning out of a window, looking out of a window, and the animation then happened several feet away from the window, where you could have been in view. It's sort of like, this isn't where I wanted it to happen.
But then again, you probably wouldn't be in view, because as we discovered when I was taking down those guys in the corridor, enemies will literally just stand there and watch you do the whole sequence without even shooting, naturally, because they're dumb. Because AI is retarded.
It's a classic sequence thing. It's like counters in Assassin's Creed. People just stand there while you're doing a fancy...
Because there was literally just another guard with his gun out and standing like 2 feet away while I was punching this guy.
Oh, that's Deus Ex for you.
But yeah, it's like the enemies are dumb, the AI is stupid. The classic, like, what's that noise? Oh, it's like, look,
that guy in a coat.
It's like, look, there's an unconscious one of my guys on the floor. I'd better very slowly bend down to look at him while you're lining up a shot.
Rather than just getting on the radio and going, holy fuck, there's a dude here.
Yeah, they don't automatically start an alarm when they see an unconscious guy. They just think he might be taking a nap or something.
Can they get back up after you've knocked them out?
Yeah, when they do their bending down sequence, if you let that go all the way through, sometimes it will revive them. I'm not sure whether they always do or whether it's just occasionally. Because
in the original Deus Ex, like, if you knocked someone out, they were just as good as dead, weren't they? That's true in Splinter Cell as well, isn't it? I don't think they wake up after you knock them out in Splinter Cell. So it was like, you could choose a lethal takedown or a non-lethal takedown. Non-lethal.
I think
I'll just not be a bastard because there's no difference gameplay-wise.
It's like
apart from the fact that when you put your infrared visors down, you can see that they're dead.
I think in the Deus Ex thing, it's like when you knock them out, I don't think they ever wake up naturally, which still makes it that they're effectively dead. I mean, it's like they only ever wake up if one of their friends finds them,
right?
And obviously you can drag the bodies around, so you can just hide them wherever.
The question is there going to be like story elements that tie into your choices based on that, or like a light dark scale?
Maybe.
Sort of.
We're in that
there
time,
may be one.
We've got 2.5 minutes.
Cool. Well, I'll let you know what I think about that aiming next time.
Something else. What was the other thing that I wanted to say about? There have been some glitches with various animation problems. No,
any crazy jiggly boobs?
No, you saw also the people models are a bit naff.
Yeah, the faces are a bit strange again. Classically.
But there have been after I showed you that one where I did the double takedown on those 2 guys and I clipped through a table in the animation.
Yeah.
Because if it had done it where I was, it probably would have been fine. But because it put me 3 feet back, the animation had me walking through the edge of like a table into this takedown. And there was another one where I did a takedown, and it was like the position of the model of the guy I was taking down was like too low. So where I was holding his head was like 5 inches below it.
Classic glitchy Deus Ex.
Stylistic vision's good though.
Yeah, it looked
consistent.
And the graphics are pretty awesome.
I was about to say the graphics aren't amazing technically, but the style carries it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's it's one of those graphics over aesthetics things.
As long as it's not gonna look weird playing this game in 5 years' time. I mean, it'll look dated, but it won't look.
I think it'll keep.
shit.
I think it'll keep more of the style for longer.
Yeah.
We're at that age where I think games will do that. If you build a stylish game, it'll keep its look for quite some time.
And one more problem that I just want to nitpick on before we get to next time to review is I don't like the upgrade system much either. Okay. Like this new where you just get experience points and then you just get upgrade points and you can upgrade on the fly wherever you are. I liked it better when you actually had to go somewhere and do it.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Oh, and when you picked up the canisters, they only had 1 of 2 things in. And you had to choose one of them. Whereas now you can all your augmentations are there from the start, and you just choose what the fuck you want. Which I guess gives you some more options, sort of.
40 seconds.
Right, well, we'll continue this next time, and when I've actually played a bit of Deus Ex Human Revolution, and I'll let you know.
I'll forget all this shit by then.
No, you won't. You can't have got that far.
I don't know, it also seems quite short, but...
Well, we'll see. Well, you can just play it again, in a different way. Be, all-out killer rather than...
Yeah, maybe.
See if that can actually work.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like it can.
No.
We shall see.
And there's other problems with that, with bosses and shit, but yeah, we'll come to that.
Anyway.
I'm sure Dan doesn't want to know.
Well, I wasn't going to tell him exactly what the boss was.
Thanks for joining us on the Saladcast. Join us again next time for more Deus Ex and various other games, etc.
Maybe not. Maybe just Deus Ex.
Maybe just Deus Ex.
Bye, guys. Bye.
House.